Let's try that again. Testicles, testicles. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can hear myself. Oh, I paused it. What do I want? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Silly bastard. All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, in his outies, in betweeners, Roger, and ASMR with Holly. I have to mention them separately because they're neither or none of the aforementioned. Good evening, one and all. I hope you're all well. I look a bit pale tonight. I haven't changed the lighting. Maybe it's because I'm not 100% at the moment. But we'll get into that shortly. Let me just say hello to everybody first who's here. Dave Kelly, good evening. ASMR with Holly, as always, a welcome. Peter Bishop, Roger Whittington, Crafts, Loafer. Fuck me, you're early, Loafer. Not usually about till later. Rubber Chuck, good evening. Peter Bishop, good evening. Mrs. W, the wonderful, beautiful Mrs. W. As always, an absolute pleasure to have you with us. Rob C, Daniel Kerr, Jack Dorr, UK Transparency, Moo, nice guys, good evening. On the Money Carpenter, Aid Braid, Kaz, and if I've missed anybody thus far, I apologise. No, I think Holly, if you're responding to, hang on a minute. Oh no, hang on a minute. On the live or in general, Daniel Kerr, who was you talking to? My friend was sent to jail after he was acquitted in a criminal court. What was he sent to jail for? We'll have to have a discussion about that, I think. Rex, good evening to you. Yeah, my bad. I missed that as well, Roger, to be fair. Nice guy. We try not to use uppercase letters in an entire comment. But thank you for joining us anyway. I'm not going to have a go at you. Just, the comment will get deleted by a moderator if it's in capitals. There's only one person that we're allowed to use capitals for all of their messages, and that's because we know that he has sight issues. So, but anyway, moving on. Not gonna dwell on that. But it's absolutely fine. Stitch, good evening. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, welcome for joining us. Welcome for joining us. That's not even a fucking sentence. Welcome for joining us. I don't know where the fuck that come from. It's not even a fucking sentence, not even English. But welcome and thank you for joining us. Marty Lads, hello. Bez, thank you. Frankie, hello. Chris, good evening. Yes, well, this week again, I have absolutely nothing planned. So this is just going to be, a play it by ear type of live stream again. And the only reason I've got nothing planned is because I don't want to get into anything for the next couple of weeks because I'm going back to see the kids and my family at Christmas. So I want to, after in the new year, we're going to come back. We're going to have a bit more structure to the live streams and whatnot, and we'll talk about things that are going on in the news at the beginning of the live stream, and then obviously we'll open the lines again and have the phone in, and then we'll go on to the panel. But it's all good. Stuart, old Rev's live, is he? He knows I go live on a Sunday. How dare he? So I would imagine because the Rev, thank you, Rich, much appreciated. Because the Rev is the Rev, I imagine that when his live stream finishes, our numbers will go up a little bit. Shame we have to wait for Rev to finish for that to happen, but such is life. Rev's a friend. I don't mind. Um, how's everybody been? How are you all? I'm, as I said at the beginning, I look a bit pale. I've been a bit off this last week, or well, last 2 weeks. I've had a bit of a chesty cough that I can't get rid of. And then tonight, well, um, I had some dinner earlier, and I didn't realise until afterwards that the pork chops I was eating were 4 days out of date. Now my belly's doing the somersaults, although um, nothing terrible's happened yet. But if I have to remove myself from the stream quickly, then that's probably why. But we won't go too deep into that. Pardon the pun. But anyway, quite a few of our lot in his chat. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Do you know what I mean? I mean, the Rev, um, uh, Welshie, who else? I mean, there's a few people who watch all of our channels. And to be fair, I believe the Rev, either yesterday, it might be today, I can't remember, but he's talking to somebody who was at the riots in well, it weren't really riots, but at the unrest, should we call it, in Ireland, Northern Ireland, Dublin to be precise, over the weekend, or Friday night. I can't remember what day it was now. Anyway, but I believe he's had somebody on, or he's got somebody on talking about that. A guy who was assaulted by the police, I believe, ended up with some legs with some cuts on, shall we say. So I think that's why there's probably a few people over there at the moment, because he's probably talking about that, although I don't know, because I didn't know he was going live tonight. Sitting in with some whiskey and weed. Who is? What, Rev Simon Sideways or you? What's going on here? Ah, there we go. Police do like beating on people. Good evening, Mickey. How you doing? Hello, Lisa. Yeah, UK transparency is ridiculous. I mean, it's not something that's really obvious. It's just that if I breathe too deeply, then I'll get a rattle in my chest, and that will cause me to cough, and then my head feels like it's going to explode, and my eyes almost fall out my face, and it's quite a hefty cough when it starts going. It's not very nice at all. Um, Bearded Vet, good evening. Sniffy nose for over a week since coming back from holiday. I'm sorry to hear that, Stuart. Where did you go on holiday, mate? It's an Irishman he has on his channel. Yeah, so it's tonight that that I would assume that he's doing that then. I do know he said he was getting somebody on. Hello, Sean. Good evening to you. But yeah, I think people want to see what he's got to say. This guy, which is absolutely fine. As I say, I'm sure people will pop over here a little bit later. If yes, well, the Japanese took the soy out of the pot noodles and tested 100 ml fish. They all turned the female. No wonder they say soy boy. Oh fucking hell! Fuerteventura. Fuerteventura. Oh no, I didn't go there. I've only been to Spain once, and I think it was a place called Fuengrola. I think it was called something like that. I probably just murdered the name off. Fuengrola. I can't imagine exactly. I can't imagine. I can't think exactly. But it was something like that. He had Tony on last night. Tonight's a different one. Ah, right. Okay. Fair enough. Now, to be honest, I did try to get the OBS working when that was all kicking off in Ireland, and I had a fucking torrid, an absolute torrid. and I could not get the bloody thing working properly. And by the time I did get it working properly, everyone was going home. It was like, oh, fucking hell. You know, it was an absolute pain in the ass. So, not that I'm hoping it kicks off again, but fingers crossed. Hey, um, uh, Canary Islands, is that where you went, Stuart? I thought it was Spain. I don't know. I don't know. I don't go on holiday. I've been out of this country twice. I went once to Spain with my eldest boy's mum, 20 odd years ago, and then I got taken to Cyprus, Ayia Napa, for a works do about 10 years ago, and that's it. That's the only times I've ever been out of the country. So my geography is absolutely shite, I'm afraid. But there we go. Problems next door were more than just drugs. He's been evicted now from the property. I did wonder why armed police were there for something so trivial. Well, I mean, it could still be drugs, Sean. Obviously, we don't know the ins and outs of it, but a lot of people that are involved in drugs will have weapons on property as well. That's the reason why I said enough when I had a grow going. Well, when somebody had a grow going in my house, and I was, watering the things. It got to a point where he said somebody's moving in with me, and I went, no, they're not. I said, listen, mate, my mental health, I can't have anybody living here. And he said to me that I either let somebody move in or he's going to fucking cut me up into little pieces. So I told him to fuck off and cut me up into little pieces. So he came round and pulled a knife on me. The next morning, he took all of the plants out. And that evening, I got raided, believe it or not. Oh, what a coincidence. But he wanted somebody there because I said, why the fuck do you want somebody to move in? He goes, well, are you going to stab somebody that comes through that door? I said, no, I'm fucking not. I said, I'll show him where the fucking thing is. And he goes, well, then that's why somebody's moving in. I went, no, mate, fuck it. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. But we make mistakes in life. We do things, we learn from them. But yeah, there we go. He looks like a gormless kid. Well, maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe he was cuckooed. Maybe he was forced into doing it. Again, I don't know. I've not seen him. I don't know anything about the situation. So, but maybe he was cuckooed, or maybe he was just trying his luck. Who knows? God bless the UK. Hello, darling. um, Yeah, Stuart, I've noticed as well, even here over the last couple of weeks, when I go up to the shop and come back, so I go from the cold into the warm, my nose just starts fucking running like somebody's turned a tap on. So maybe it's coming back from somewhere slightly warmer. Obviously, I'm presuming it's not going to be, well, it's definitely not going to be summer temperatures, but it's still going to be warmer than it is here. So maybe it's the climate. Who knows? But I hope it's not too bad for you, mate. Who else have I missed? Hanging out your ass tonight. Who is that bloke you sent me a video of? The one that I think I posted that on Twitter. I think I reposted it on Twitter, that one. Yeah, just so everybody knows, God bless the UK sent me a video from Twitter of a bloke getting bummed in the street. Couldn't see their faces, so I don't know if he was the giver or the taker. But then next to that, there was a bloke on his knees with his face buried in somebody else's arse. Again, I don't know if one of them was God bless the new K. He could have been any one of the four, to be quite honest with you. Sorry, sire. Hi, Saskia. Hope you're okay. Thank you, Bushwhacker. He wanted his knife back. Oh dear. Yeah, it was you, Stony. Giving or taking, licking or licky. Let's not go down that route. Let's not go down that. That was let's move on, because that's not something that I'm sure any of us really want to be thinking about. Um, Now, obviously, there was that issue in Ireland that happened. Some of you have probably seen or read more about that than I have. Hi, Lodger. Hi, Futoy. Um, does anybody know? Again, I've not looked. I haven't looked at all. Okay, I've not looked at any news reports at all weekend. But does anybody know if because there was three children, wasn't there, and two adults that were injured in Ireland? Does anybody know if they're all okay? When I say okay, obviously, I mean they're not unalive anymore, are they? The old Bill were a disgrace today. I did see the old. I did see a video actually of Tommy Robinson being arrested, um, and he was obviously as of now they are alive. Okay, good. Um, al- I mean, obviously it's a good thing they're alive. It's not good that they've been, injured the way that they have. But again, it's not something that I can go into in depth because I've really not looked into it over the weekend, just to be completely honest with you. So I'm not going to be discussing that, too much. Um, yeah, I saw, as I said a minute ago, I saw Tommy Robinson getting arrested. Well, I I think they removed him from the area, and then when they were away from much of the crowd, I believe they then arrested him and put him in the back of a van. I believe. I'm not 100% sure. They could have put him in the back of the van to move him away from the area. A bit like if you're disturbing the peace, if you're disturbing the peace, it's not really an arrestable offence, but they do have a right to remove you from the area if you're disturbing the peace, that is. Um, but woman still hospital, one girl not good, two other children sent home, the 50 male Muslim immigrant still in hospital who stabbed them. Right, okay. Well, I do hope that he's still in hospital because of the bike helmet he got wrapped around his own head. Um, but again, let's we as far as I know, we don't know the story yet, the full story as to why it had happened. It could have been, and again, it's if any of you guys have seen or read or know more about this than I do, then fine, please correct me. It could have been an ex of the woman. This is what I've been thinking. It could have been an ex of the woman. Um, and if and he's got the ump for one reason or another. And to be fair, if that's the case, then we can't turn around and say it's because of where he's from or religion or anything like that. And I want to be honest about that. It could very, very easily be, and we've seen it many times. White British people who have flipped because they've had an argument with the missus or broken up um, with a partner, and they've gone fucking nutty and done something stupid, including unaliving them. So we need to be careful at the moment in suggesting that it's because of maybe his religion or where he's from in that respect. Certainly not sticking up for the guy. Okay, because anybody that does that, I think, deserves life imprisonment. No fucking question. Anybody that stabs somebody else, as far as I'm concerned, they're stabbing them with the sole intent. You don't stab somebody in the hope that you just hurt them. If you just want to hurt somebody, you'll fucking hit them. You know what I mean? If you stab somebody, you're doing it with the sole intent, in my opinion, of unaliving them. Um, and therefore, I think that anybody who stabs somebody should, without doubt, get done for attempted murder every time. that's just my opinion on that, obviously. Um, but we do need to be careful in coming up with reasons why we think he done it, just because of where he's from or a religion or whatever color skin they might have. So um, I've done stupid things in the past when I've never done that. I've never done that, but I've done stupid things when when an ex has cheated on me, for example, um, and things like that. So that kind of thing can send anyone over the edge in some cases. Yeah, going back to the police in no, you're right, Sean. We don't. Absolutely right. But again, there are many. I mean, I've covered stories in the past of people where the police have failed, which is why I covered it. When you've had a white male who's gone and stabbed or done something to an ex or somebody they're infatuated with. So again, we need to be careful with reasons as to why this might have happened until we get a bit more information out. Um, yeah, we're going back to the protest today. Tommy Robinson getting um, allegedly arrested. I I saw the bit where the sergeant was telling him he was going to give him a dispersal order, and Tommy was like, "Well, why you give me a dispersal order? I'm here as a journalist." He read him a tweet from the Met Police saying journalists have got every right to be there, etc. Um, and Evening, Alf. I hope you're well. Um, but I was pretty disgusted by that as well. I mean, from what I could see from the video that I saw, and it was very short, Tommy Robinson wasn't anywhere near anybody that would want to kick off because he was there. I believe he was with a big crowd of um, pro-Jewish people, um, rather than anywhere near the pro-Palestinian people or the anti-Jewish people. So, um, I what was I saying? So I think that was pretty disgusting the way that they ended up carting him off. Um, I didn't see that. The video that I saw said Tommy Robinson. This was on Danny Tomo's channel. Said that Tommy was sprayed and arrested and whatnot and assaulted. I didn't see him get sprayed on that video, unless I must have missed it, but I didn't see that. But he certainly wasn't being violent. So if they sprayed him, then I'd be very disgusted with that. He was pepper sprayed in handcuffs. Again, I didn't see that myself, but if that's what happened, then there's absolutely no reason and no way they should get away with pepper spraying somebody who's already detained. But Tommy did say that they're looking to arrest him at the moment anyway. And this could just be a way of getting him into custody so that they can, work their police blue-fingered magic and set him up for something potentially. Well, we're going to get the lines open, is what we're going to do, because again, you don't just come here to listen to me ramble on. So we're going to get the lines open. I have been having a bit of an issue with the whole setup, but I did do a sound test earlier. Thank you, Roger. And to do with a Crown Court case, yeah, I think yes. Is it something to do with contempt again or something? Maybe I'm not 100% sure. I remember him saying something about a Crown Court case, but let's get the lines open anyway and give you guys a say, because we love hearing from you guys. So let me just set this up, because if I don't set it up properly, it's not going to work. Okay, let's try that, and let's try that. And if we do that, and we say 01515289590, if you've got something you want to share, if you've got a story, you want to call me names, you want to whistle blow, talk shit, please do give us a ring, and let's hear what you've got to say on some of this week's events. Or even if you just want somebody to talk to and you've been on your own all week, and you just need somebody with a bit of sense to talk to, then I would suggest not calling me. Yeah, bushwhacker, that is something that was brought up with regards to the law changes over the past sort of 6 to 12 months. It's been set now, isn't it? So if you're walking back from work, as your comment quite clearly states, if you're walking back from work and your face doesn't fit, then you can be forcibly searched and have to give your details and shit like that, which is, there's just absolutely no, they don't need reasonable anything anymore. I mean, let's face it, they didn't use reasonable suspicion or anything beforehand, but now this just gives them the chance to get away with that even more without any comeback on them. So is anybody trying to call? Because the phone's not ringing. There we go. Good evening. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, you right?
I am. Who's this?
It's Patrick from Surrey.
Hello, Patrick. How you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Good. I'm not so bad, mate. Just 1 second. I just want to make sure everybody can hear you first. Can you please give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear the caller? Just to make sure it's all working properly. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. Yes, brilliant. Brilliant. Patrick, go ahead. What do you want to talk about, my friend?
Just wanted some advice tonight, Pat.
If I can.
Unfortunately, Friday night I was arrested. I was out drinking, and I was refused entry to a club. So I walked away down the street, right. And then the police came and pulled me over, and asked where I'd been. So I said just to this club. Then they wanted my name. So I refused to give my name because I didn't think I had committed an offence.
Right.
Put me in cuffs and in the back of the van.
And was you actually arrested?
Yeah, I was charged with breach of the peace, but I didn't.
Right.
I wasn't that drunk, to be honest. So I remember exactly what I did. I wasn't shouting or swearing. I got refused entry for being too drunk, but I didn't swear or shout. So I walked off down the street, and they asked me where I'd been. So I said, "Oh," so I didn't tell them because I didn't think, well, what's their right? And said, "Oh," they said something like, "Oh, you're refusing to tell us where have you been?" So I said, "Yes, it's got no. I don't have to tell you where I've been. I'm not committing an offence." Then put me in handcuffs in the back of the van, breach of peace.
Right. Well, it sounds to me like when a copper comes up to you and asks you where you've been, where you're going, that to me is what's the word I'm thinking of? It's a
Stop.
It's a stop and stop an account. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, my brain's a bit slow tonight. That's a stop an account, and a stop an account. There is absolutely no legislation or rules or anything that says you've even got to interact with them if it's a stop an account. Absolutely none whatsoever. I mean, they will turn around and say to you, "Well, it's polite and you should stop," but you don't have to, right? It's the same as if you get pulled over in a car. You don't have to talk to them, providing you've got your details. You can just show them the details. You don't have to talk to them. So, and again, in the legislation, there's nothing that says you have to actually speak to them. So, a stop an account, to me, there is nothing they can do about it, and they cannot use a stop an account refusal to talk to them as a reason to arrest you. Okay.
So they put handcuffs on me. I've never been arrested before. I had a few drinks, but if you know what I mean, I wasn't drunk. So I knew sort of what was going on around me. They put me in a van, took me to the station, kept me in a cell for around, I'd say, 5 hours, then got me out, gave my shoes back, because they took everything off me, my belt, my shoes, and then said, "Oh, you're free to go." So I said, "Well, I don't know what's happened for the last 6 hours." And they said, "You're free to go." Like I wasn't drunk. I didn't swear or resist arrest. All I did was refuse to tell them where I've been because I didn't think I had a need to.
Right. Breach of the peace, if I remember rightly. In fact, I'll tell you what. Let me just bring it up properly, so I'm not giving you. So I'm not getting confused here. Breach of the peace. I believe. Here we go. Yeah, is used to prevent unlawful violence against people or property. Okay, common law. It's used to prevent unlawful violence. Now, if you're just, and this is what a lot of people don't realise. Okay, a lot of people will get nicked under breach of the peace, and they'll go, "Oh, well, maybe I was being a bit loud," or something like that. Well, that's got nothing to do with breach of the peace. Breach of the peace is to do with unlawful. Fuck's sake, where's it gone? And prevent unlawful violence against people or property. And I'm looking on a website at the moment, and you can check this out yourself. There's also the legislation. Breach of the peace is a common law concept which is used to prevent unlawful violence against people or property. Peace in this context refers to the King's peace and should be taken to mean the opposite of war. Okay. Now, obviously, they should try and resolve a situation. So if you're, in an argument with somebody, then they could say breach of the peace if you don't calm down. But what the police tend to do is they tend to get the person who is not potentially going to cause violence. They always try they use breach of the peace on the person who generally isn't the one that's going to cause violence against somebody. And they let all the people that are going to cause violence against people carry on doing what they're doing. Well, my point is that it was a stop an account. They had no right to use your refusal to engage in them or with them as a reason to arrest you, unless obviously they've got other there was other reasons that they can justify.
Well, I did say, and I thought I was quite right. I did say, are you looking for anyone in particular? Because I thought if you're looking for sort of, if there's a crime being committed and I match that description, then I'll sort of speak to you. I said, so is there no crime's been committed? We're not looking for anyone. So I thought, well, so why are you asking me where I've been, or like if there's no crime being committed?
Right. Okay, which again, you didn't have to ask, but you did, which is in your favour, to be fair. You've asked them, and if that's what they've said, excuse me, especially if they've got body cams on and there's evidence of that, then that's going to go in your favour. They, as I say, no right to arrest you for breach of the peace if there's, if nothing was going on. No right to detain you just for refusing to engage with them under a stop and account. Arresting you is obviously, and putting you in handcuffs is obviously assault and battery. From what you've told me, and I don't mean to be rude, but from what you've told me on its own, and there could be some other stuff that maybe you haven't said or maybe can't remember or whatever. But from what you've told me, I think you've probably got a reasonable claim against them for false arrest. Definitely, they've misused their powers in making you or detaining you for not engaging with them, which they can't do. That's on the government website that is on, and you can actually go and see that, stop an account. So I would suggest you've probably got a reasonable claim against them for that, especially if they've held you for 5 hours as well.
Yeah, like I said, I remember everything that happened. So they refused me entry, so I walked off, and they basically came up to me and said, "Oh, where have you been tonight?" I said, "Well, what's it?" Without swearing or being that rude, I said, "Well, what? It's got nothing to do with you where I've been tonight. Is there? Are you looking for me? Is there a crime being committed?" No. So I said, "Well, I'm not telling you where I've been tonight." Right. Yeah, last chance to tell us where you've been tonight. I said, "Well, I'm not telling you." Right. Okay. We'll arrest you for breach of the peace. And I said, "Well,
right.
How have I breached any peace?" Like,
no, you don't have to tell them where you've been unless they're, unless you're detained and they're investigating you. Which is why most people say, "Am I detained or am I free to go?" And if they say you're free to go and you walk away, then they put their hands on you, then that's even more in your favour. But yeah,
I wish I got it on camera, but I think.
Do you remember if they had...
the first time I've ever been? Sorry.
No, go ahead. I was being rude then. You speak.
No, I'm sorry, pal. It's just I wish I got it on camera, but sometimes in the heat of the moment, I've never been arrested before or spoke to the police. I was probably quite intimidated, so I didn't even think about getting the camera out.
Yeah, which is easy to happen. Lots of people, if you've never had interaction with the police and you've heard that you should film it, when it happens, there's a lot going on, and you often forget to get your camera out, and it's absolutely normal. But the fact that they arrested you and took you to a police station for breach of the peace as well is, in my opinion, very weird, because a breach of the peace is over once they remove you from where that breach may be happening. Okay. Similar to Tommy Robinson being arrested earlier today, I think it was, or yesterday, with they threatened him with breach of the peace. And again, he wasn't, it was, you could cause a breach of the peace. In other words, by making other people become violent.
But he hasn't himself. Yeah.
But then you should be dealing with the people that might become violent, then, not the person who's there that they're going to become violent against. It's all messed up the way they use breach of the peace laws. But breach of the peace is over once they remove you from that situation. So for them to hold you in a cell for 5 hours, I think you said, is, in my opinion, wrong as well. Now, I don't get anything for this, by the way, but I would suggest speaking to HNK, Higgs, Newton and Kenyon solicitors.
Yeah.
They're Liverpool based, but they deal with people around the country. They are very good. I know lots of people that have used them. I've used them. Again, I should get in touch with them and say to them, "Listen, if I send people your way, can I get a bit of a kickback?" But I don't. I get absolutely nothing. Go on.
It felt like there was a bit butthurt because I didn't answer their questions, which I didn't think I had to. It felt like, do you know what? If you're going to be awkward, we'll be more awkward. I felt it was just a bit of that, and sorry to bother you tonight. I just wanted some advice.
Don't be sorry for bothering.
I'm not really after. I don't want to. I'm not all about claims and that, but I just feel like I just wanted some advice to get things a bit clearer in my head, whether I have done right or wrong, if you know what I mean.
Now, obviously, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a solicitor. I can only give you my opinion based on what I know and what I've learned over the past few years, which is why I say to you, get in touch with HNK. I think you definitely shouldn't have been arrested. Definitely shouldn't have been put in a cell based on what you've told me. The fact that they apparently arrested you because you failed to engage with them under what I would class as a stop and account. I think I wouldn't let them get away with that, especially if it's your first time, because what will happen next time is, if they do something to you wrong again in the future and you let it go, it's going to be harder to then turn around and say, hang on a minute, I shouldn't be getting treated like this. So you need to sort of act as soon as possible. Now, do you know whether they had their body cams on?
To tell you the truth, Pat, I was that, well, so sort of, how can I word it? So like the adrenaline, I didn't really see what was going on around me.
Okay. She was anxious. He was anxious.
Without sounding pathetic, scared.
Okay. I would, in that case, I would suggest, first of all, getting in touch with HNK. But I would also suggest, because it might take HNK, a little while, a couple of days, maybe, may even get it straight away, but it might take them a little while to get back to you. But I would suggest in the meantime, you do a subject access request to the police force. You ask them for any information regarding your arrest. You want body cam footage, notepad entries, CCTV from the van, from the custody, from the cell. You want everything surrounding that.
I just walked away like civilly, and that was it.
Right. So I would do that, and see, once you put that request in for the footage, even if they might not have the footage, they might not have body cam footage, but once you put a request in, if there is footage, it has to get marked as potentially evidential, which means they can't delete it. The longer you leave it, the easier it is for somebody in the police station to delete that footage, if it shows them doing wrong. So you need to put that in as quick as possible. But that's what I would suggest you do. Again, I can only give you advice. I can't instruct you what to do. I can only advise you, again, based on my own opinions and what I've learned. But I think that they were wrong to arrest you. Certainly wrong to hold you for 5 hours. And breach of the peace, as I say, is over once you're out of the situation where the breach may occur. So there's no reason for them to have held you, and handcuffing you and whatnot is again, it's assault and battery. And I would advise anybody else to do exactly the same things I'm advising you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get off. I appreciate your time tonight, Pat. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. I hope the information's helped, but please keep us updated.
Thanks, Pat. Take care, mate.
You too. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye. Hello. Good evening and welcome. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, it's a bit behind.
No worries.
So, I've got a friend, Jason Stephen Wong, who last week was sentenced to jail for 4 months for allegedly recording a court hearing. Now, he'd already had this court case in Nottingham in 2022, in November 2022, and we asked for the documents. We put Part 18 in, and we asked for the documents from the for the prosecutor for the alleged court hearing and of the adoption, and obviously they couldn't produce these documents, so the judge decided to acquit my friend Jason. Now, we got a letter from the CPS saying that they're now they discontinued the charges, not that it's been acquitted, that they discontinued the charges, and we've also got a certificate of acquittal. I think I've already emailed it to you. Why would you get a certificate of acquittal if it wasn't acquitted? Yeah. So what the CPS have done is then they've claimed they've dismissed the charges and to bring new charges against him with the Attorney General. And what's actually happened is we've got the High Court Judge, Stephen Cobb, the Chief High Court Judge decided to send him to jail for 4 months and claimed it was a court hearing, that he was satisfied it was a court hearing. Well, we weren't satisfied, and we called this out in court, and we demanded the family man file, and we also demanded the caseman file to prove that the court court hearing that he was in was legitimate, and we've never got those documents. You know, what else?
You've got a notice of acquittal. You said,
yeah,
for the exact. And I don't mean to be
exact charge, exact charge,
for that exact case.
Well,
yeah.
what was there another adoption hearing? It's the exact hearing.
Well, yeah, but
it's the exact charges.
I've got to ask a question. Do you know what I mean? I know it sounds might sound like I'm, what's the word? Talking to you like stupid, and I apologise for that. I'm really not.
Oh no, it's fine.
It's like when you say to people, "Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in again?" You know, it's sometimes something really simple, you know, can make all the difference. So I've got to ask that question.
My friend did all the things like asking the judges into the oath, and he wouldn't give his oath and all that. He was just evading the question the whole time. You know, obviously he was under an oath there, but it was a secret bar guild oath, not his judicial one. You know. What else? Yeah, it was. Yeah, but anyway,
if you've got a notice of acquittal, then you know, and this isn't something that I've come across before. But if you've got a notice of acquittal, then surely that's enough evidence to prove that a case was heard, but wasn't followed through for whatever reason. And if a judge has now turned round and said no, it was a court case, then I would suggest. I mean, is this friend of yours going through the appeals process?
No, he's already in jail. He sent him down. He
can still go through an appeals process, even though he's inside. He can still do an appeal on it.
I think there's only 21 days though. Since his judgment, because he made his judgment and then he gave him 30 days. And what we should have appealed, we're thinking about going for a judicial review.
Yeah.
But
again, it's not, and I want to be careful that I don't say anything that is incorrect here. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not something that I've come across before. But I would suggest putting him for an appeal, speaking to a brief about getting an appeal on the
many court cases that I can tell you about.
I can't for the life of me imagine why they would send him down if you've got a notice of acquittal. I mean,
it's to cover up. It's to cover up that there was never a court hearing when his daughter was adopted. It was not a court hearing. We cannot get the documents, the family man documents or anything. There's no court. It was no court of record when they did the adoption.
And when it comes to family courts, yeah, I can quite believe that because they're as corrupt as they come as well. Listen, can we have a chat offline?
Yeah.
Just to try and get a little bit more information.
You'll be shocked, mate. You'll be shocked at what they've done to him and his wife.
The reason I say that, because if I can be sure that there's no comeback, then potentially this could be something that I could bring up on the channel in a video.
We've got lots of evidence.
But,
I mean, we've got the original recording as well, and he's asking there. He's demanding these files. I mean, even when he's just been sentenced down, we're there demanding the caseman files. Do you know what the caseman files are?
Right.
You should always ask for the caseman files, because if you've ever committed a crime or anything, you need to see what they're using in evidence against you are in those caseman files. And it's the same with the family man system. Yeah, what the social services are using against you needs to be in that family man file. And if there's no family man file and there's been no fee paid, there is no case. And they're just tricking people by having judges in there that are really single legal advisors for the local authority. They're not actually there as judges. I mean, it even says this on the government website, like who can be a judge of a family man, not family man, of a family hearing. Yeah, in the family hearings. And it does actually say a single legal advisor. It doesn't say who they're working for.
It's the same, the same as magistrates court. Magistrates don't need any legal training at all, because they get all their information from the court clerk. The court clerk is more knows more than the people that are making the judgments against you. And family courts are bent as arseholes. They really are.
We actually, this is how far we've gone. We sued everybody involved. We sued the judge. We sued the police officer that arrested him for recording the thing. We sued the court manager. I think it was Rebecca Lawrence. We sued lots of people that were all involved, and none of them can produce this family man file or a filing fee or anything to produce that this was a court of record. So
Right.
they've just kidnapped a child, basically, and this judge, Stephen Cobb, is now covering up. It's a crime to conceal a crime, and by sentencing him down, he's trying to shut him up for them kidnapping his daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have a it's fine. Let's have a chat offline.
Yeah.
Because I think this could be, and obviously the only reason I want to speak to you offline because I need to get information to make sure that I'm not going to put myself in trouble by reporting on it. But it sounds to me like something that we can put into a video to expose what's happened there, because it's happened. It doesn't just happen to you. I've heard of similar stories when it comes to family courts, and I've got that, Daniel. I've just got your email address, so thank you. I've heard of lots of stories of family courts doing this and far worse.
Yeah. Well, there's a meeting on. Well, we could probably arrange a meeting tomorrow with another member. Well, a couple of our members. I mean, some of them actually are legally trained. I mean, we've got one person who's like last year of uni that was also herself in the system, not in the UK system, in a different system, but she's also had problems with social services and her children, and it's, so she's out to actually help people, not, working with the local authorities to, take down the parents and cover up a crime,
Yeah, but it's one thing. Grown-ups are easier to handle. It's easier to handle. Grown-ups find it easier to handle things. When it comes to kids, I absolutely hate the fact that courts will or are corrupt when it comes to dealing with kids. Adults know they can appeal, they can do this, they can do that. Right? It shouldn't happen to anybody, but when it comes to kids and things like that, kids, they don't know that they can argue. They don't know that they can say, hang on a minute, fuck you, this isn't what happened. They don't know that they can speak up. And I absolutely hate cases that involve kids, especially where kids have been taken away from their family in any sense of the word. It's disgusting. But we can, I mean, as I say, it's worthy of trying to put an appeal in if possible, but I would definitely like to speak to you about potentially putting a video together to expose this.
Yeah, we've got quite a few videos as well.
It happens to a lot of people, unfortunately, and more people need to know that it goes on.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a woman earlier this year, lady that's part of our group, whose child was punched in the face by the foster carer. And she went down there and she did a live stream, which was a bit silly, but she went down there and she went to the police station, didn't go anywhere near the foster carers to report her child had been, punched in the face. And then social services got involved and they say, oh, it's okay, they've dropped the case now, we're taking care of it. And they just moved her son out and left the elder daughter in there. So anyway,
sickening, man. But let's have a chat offline. I've got your email. I'll drop you an email. I'll give you a phone number, and we'll sort out a time and a day, and we'll have a chat. I'm sorry to hear that about your friend and his child. It's a sickening situation.
It's a system that's now out of control because there's too much money. Even the Prime Minister's involved in he's got shares in foster care homes and things. But it's out of control now because if they stop this now, it'll be probably lose about $6 billion a month or something crazy in foster care fees and
sad, sickening. All right, man. Well, listen, I'll drop you an email and we'll have a chat.
Sure. All right, man. Speak to you later.
Thanks for calling and take it easy. Bye, mate. Bye-bye.
All right, thanks. Bye.
I fucking hate things to do with kids like that, where the government, the courts, all think they can do what the fuck they like with our kids. No, mate. Hello, good evening and welcome.
Hello again, Dan.
Hello there, how you doing?
Oh, the last couple of calls have been very depressing.
They have.
Yeah, I feel bad for everyone concerned. I just want to. There's a lot to talk about, but something unusual's come up this evening that really underscores how full of shit everyone in power is. I was on Facebook about an hour and a half ago, and all of a sudden I started getting these suggestions on my feed from Facebook suggesting that I look at these posts from certain user-made Facebook groups I've never heard of before, and they were full of anti-Semitic imagery of one of a giant Palestinian soldier crushing tiny Israeli soldiers under feet. There was one that was repeated on a couple of Facebook groups of a lion with a British flag wrapped around it in Jerusalem outside the Dome of the Rock, with in its maw a rat with an Israeli flag around it. And there was another website that was glorifying Joseph Malembe, the South African racist who leads the economic freedom fighters.
Right.
And when I reported it to Facebook this evening for these groups inciting terrorism, they were suggesting I should follow or comment on or join, and they were putting them in my timeline without my consent. They replied back and said, "Oh, we're not going to take them down. There's nothing wrong here. No, that's not inciting terrorism." And I just think I just think that's the double. If it was something like anti-vaxxer or something, they would crush that immediately. If it was, but they're actively shoving anti-Semitic posts and anti-Semitic propaganda without my consent, unsolicited, down my throat by promoting it on my timeline. And when I complain about it, nothing to see here.
The problem
and these are the same.
Sorry, the problem is you say without your consent. Unfortunately, it is with your consent, because when you sign up for Facebook, I guarantee none of us that are watching this right now, 186 people, I guarantee nobody has gone through the terms and conditions of using Facebook. Within those terms and conditions, it will say that they have the right to promote and to share, although it says it's based on your usage of Facebook, but they have a right to share into your feed things that they think may be of interest to you. And they also have at the top, and I'm not trying to stick up for them, by the way, so don't take this the wrong way. I'm just, just being honest with you. They have on the top right hand corner, have a little cross, so you can click that cross or the three buttons, and you can click "Do not show this in my feed anymore."
Yeah, I've done that.
So because of that, this is why they can get away with it, because they give you the option to stop seeing it, allegedly.
Why do they think I would be interested in it, in that sort of crap, unless they're operating under the lazy assumption that anyone who's to the right of Pol Pot must be a neo-Nazi?
Well, it's also,
and they're always
the majority.
They're always
go on.
Yeah, they're always going on about, we've got to tackle hate speech, we've got to tackle hateful content and racism and all that, and yet they're actively promoting it if it's against Jews or against white people, and it's almost as if the Facebook algorithm has seen my profile. It's decided that I'm an enemy, so it's going to shove as much of this filth onto my timeline as sort of like a two-fingered salute.
Which could well be the case. Which could well be the case. I mean, the majority of it is, or 99.99% of it is done by, as you say, algorithms. And I don't think that they look at what the content that you're looking at. They just look at potentially the name of the group, let's say, or where the posters come from. So if you have looked, I mean, I've done it. I've looked at some posts on my Facebook feed that I found absolutely disgusting. I think to myself, what the fuck is this? And I've had a look. But because I've clicked on it and gone through to have a look, I suddenly start getting from groups and news feeds about stuff that has got no interest to me day to day. Do you know what I mean? So I have to either stop looking at that shit or keep clicking, do not show me this anymore. But as soon as you click on something else, and it's inevitable, there is going to be things, this anti-Semitic thing. None of us want to see anti-Semitism going on, or nobody wants to see anti-anything. But we'll see a headline, for example, and we'll go, "Oh, let's have a look at that," even though it's something that we're against because we want to see what's going on in the world, perhaps. And unfortunately, as soon as you do that, the algorithm picks up that you've looked at it from where it's from, and then it will look at the associated groups to that group, for example, and then it will start chucking shit at you. Unfortunately, it's just one of them things. It's part of the terms and conditions of using Facebook. Unfortunately, same as.
But it just goes to show that people like Leo Varadkar and Mark Zuckerberg are two-faced, devious liars.
Well, I always thought Zuckerberg was a Jew anyway.
Yeah. Why is he promoting this crap? I'm not calling for censorship. I'm just saying I don't want pro-terrorist propaganda that I didn't explicitly ask for polluting my timeline.
Yeah.
And I think they're bringing in all these, community standards, and they give you a 3-day suspension for saying something vaguely negative about vaccine mandates. And they're talking about sending people to prison for 2 years for misgendering people, but yet they promote anti-Semitism, anti-white material on people's Facebook feeds. And the global vice president of Facebook is a certain Nick Clegg, who, while he was leader of the Liberal Democrats and deputy prime minister of this country, presided over a party that was riddled with anti-Semitic members at all levels, such as the former Bradford MP David Ward, such as the infamous Baroness Jenny Tong, just like the councillors in Burnley who were voting with the BNP on the local council, and then one of the Lib Dem councillors who called himself Gavin Darlin started sending me threatening messages for exposing the fact that the Lib Dems were voting with the BNP on the local enterprise board. Facebook need to get their house in order. They need to, stop promoting anti-white racism, anti-Semitism, terrorism, and get rid of Nick Clegg.
Listen, if they stopped promoting anti-anything, there'd hardly be anything on Facebook anymore. They need people. They need people to engage, right? Even if it's negatively, this is a problem that we've got, right? Even if it's negatively, they want people to engage. So somebody will put a post up, and Facebook knows, if you put, I've seen people put posts up, women, of their back turns like that, where they're not wearing anything, right? And they've got their back turned, so you don't see any tit or nothing, right? And those pictures have been taken down for breaching the community standards, right? But yet they'll allow things, as you say, they'll allow things up there that are anti something, because it causes interaction on the platform. And the more interaction they've got, the more money they're going to make, because the more adverts and shit like that get shared and shown. So they want people to have these arguments. But then on the flip side, you get some fucking weak leftard who doesn't like what you've said and then reports you for a comment on a post that is anti something or other. you know, and
Yeah.
none of that makes sense to me. But they make money from it. You know what I mean? It's fucking sad.
Yeah, it is, and I feel desperately sorry for Tommy. I am also outraged by not just Leo Varadkar, but Matthew Wright. If I could say a few words to Matthew Wright, it would be careful what you wish for. It may just come true for your wife and child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Horrible, disgusting human being Matthew Wright is.
I posted something on Facebook yesterday, which I've still not been banned for yet, and I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised. I want to be careful what I say on here, but if you look up what space film, what space film was out in 1990 something. Give us a second, and I will tell you what it was. But go and look it up when I tell you. Go and look it up. Give us a sec. So let me go and have a look. Right. What?
While we're on the subject of sci-fi films, I know it's got mixed reviews, but I quite enjoyed the Hunger Games prequel yesterday, particularly the multicolored snakes and what their creators said that they represented. I'm surprised that Hollywood went with that because it potentially exposes their agenda.
Right. Sorry, I'm just trying to. There we go. Google. If you go to Google and you put in what outer space movie came out in 1992, right?
Oh, is it the one I'm thinking of? The Yakubs.
It was. If I spell it, I'll spell it. It was.
No, I think I know which one it was.
But I went and actually found the video is actually available on YouTube. It's only a 28-minute long film, and I went and found the video on YouTube, and I posted the video on my Facebook page, which shows the title of the film on there as well. And that, to be fair, that should be an immediate kickoff of a Facebook for 30 days. But I've not been yet. Not that I don't want to be, but I wanted to test it. But if you Google that and see what comes up.
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea which particular spicy movie title you have in mind.
It was a shit film. It was a shit film. Let me just say that. So I'm not telling people to go and watch it because it's a good film, because it ain't. It's shit. It's just the title.
Well, of course it's shit. They don't call it blaxploitation for nothing. Yes,
actually, you're right. And that I watched when I was looking this up yesterday, the video, I actually came across a review and somebody went blaxploitation. I went, well, that's not even a fucking word. Do you know what I mean? Blaxploitation. Fuck off. You know, I mean, white exploitation. When's that going to be a thing? It's never going to be a thing, is it? Let's face it. So you can't have it one way and not have it the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, but I'm outraged by what's happened to Tommy. I'm outraged by Leo Varadkar's behaviour. I'm exceptionally outraged with Matthew Wright and his ignorant, short-sighted comments. And I'm angry with Sadiq and his ULEZ van-protecting balaclavaed thugs.
Sadiq's just a fucking idiot anyway. We all know that. That's never going to change. I can't imagine he's going to sit for another term as mayor of London. I know some people think that he will. I can't see it.
I'm telling you now. I think if there's a free and fair election in London, next time Sadiq will lose.
Yeah, if it's a fair one, yeah, I think you're right. But you know, we're talking about the government here, and nothing's fair when it comes to the government. So
no, and did you hear this? Hamas are apparently very upset because Geert Wilders used some very hurty words, and this has hurt the drug-addled Captagon maniacs of Hamas's precious feelings.
Oh.
So let's take a moment of silence in solidarity with the snowflakes of Hamas who've been brutally injured by Geert Wilders' hurty words.
It's an absolute joke, isn't it? Absolute joke. Yeah, I don't even. I mean, so I get onto some conversations and I genuinely get lost for fucking words because it's just so pathetic how things are. But for anybody to even report on that is an absolute joke. I mean, why would anybody even report on that? I mean, what outlet was it that reported on this?
Oh, it just came up on my Twitter feed. Everyone was talking about, Hamas being upset with Geert Wilders. And I thought, what has Hamas got to do with Geert Wilders? He's in the Netherlands.
Oh.
But it brings me back to that pompous Wazik Nick Griffin. Apparently, he doesn't like Wilders because Wilders has a Jewish wife. Oh, get over yourself, Nick.
They're all trying to find a reason to be relevant. I think a lot of these people are trying to find a reason to be relevant, and the reasons are so pathetic. It actually gets people talking, like we are now.
Yeah.
If they were reasonable arguments that people had, the chances are we wouldn't be fucking talking about them. But because some of these things that people are coming out with, especially on social media, is so fucking out there, it causes people to have these discussions and talk about it, and that's what all these social media platforms want us to do.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. Thanks to the chat and everyone, and viva Mille. I'll speak to you again.
Take it easy.
Bye.
Ta-da, mate. Ta-da. Hello, Simon. How you doing, my man? How'd your live stream go? Hello, good evening and welcome.
How's it going, Pap? This is Futo here.
Hello, Futo. How you doing?
I'm doing good, mate. How about yourself?
Good. Not so bad, thank you. Thanks for asking.
I was wondering, did you want to hear what's going around in Ireland about the stabbing incident?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. Again, as I said earlier, I don't know if you heard me or not. I don't know a great deal about it, so I'm interested in finding out what other people know about it. But I might not be able to put much towards, the conversation because, as I say, I've not really been looking into it apart from when it was all kicking off that night and what actually caused it. Anything since then, I've not looked into it. But go by all means, go ahead.
All right, so there's a lot of theories going around, a lot of people saying what they think happened and whatnot. So, and the truth is in there somewhere, right? So, from what I can decipher, right, from it all, right, and again, this is only what we think happened, right? So it's not definitely what happened, but the guy is Algerian. He's been living in Ireland for 20 years.
Okay.
All right, and apparently his family came out and said that he had a brain tumor, and the brain tumor had caused him to have hallucinations or whatnot, or this sort of thing. So this is apparently what the family is saying. But then again, we were told the 5-year-old died, and then we were told the teacher died, and nobody's dead. So it's a very much, you have to, try to figure out what the truth is, for now, right?
Yeah.
So
I said earlier that we need to be careful in what conclusions we come to, because if it was a guy, and I didn't know this, but if it was, I said this earlier, if it was a guy who'd broken up with his girlfriend, I'm not suggesting that makes any of this right, but that happens to Algerians. It happens to Europeans, it happens to Chinese, everybody that can flip out over a breakup and do something stupid. I've reported on them before. Yeah, white people that have stabbed somebody because they've broken up with them, for example.
Right.
So I wanted to make it clear earlier that I for one wouldn't be making a connection right away because he's Algerian.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
there are people that have obviously jumped on that.
Well, you know what? On saying that, now to be careful, on saying that, right? He was again. But this seems like the truth that he was arrested before a long time ago for carrying a knife. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but I think it is an actual cultural thing for some nationalities to own a knife. It's just their culture. They do it in their home country or whatever.
Yeah.
So in that sense, and maybe there's that little bit of connection, but he didn't do that particularly because of his nationality. I wouldn't say that. I put it down to total mental illness. Obviously, I mean, who in their right mind is going to do that?
You can get a knife from anywhere anyway over here. You know what I mean? It
doesn't
need to be
anybody can have
a zombie knife. A kitchen knife. A 14-inch chef's knife is going to do more damage than a pen knife, for example. Yeah, and many pen knives are bad. Kitchen knives aren't. Go on.
Yeah, well, you see, that's the thing in Ireland now. Funny you were mentioning that. A guy went into, and this is pretty much, I'm sure about this. He went into a shop, a young guy. He bought knives and he went out and he stabbed. And this is an Irish guy, so you know what I mean. The stabbing is not exclusive to one type of people. So he stabbed his girlfriend, who was or the girlfriend or the guy the girlfriend was with. Right, yeah. So they had broken up, and exactly how you explained. So now in Ireland, when you go into a shop to buy a knife, I can't remember exactly how they see it, but there's restrictions on it nowadays.
Do they ask you if you're married? If you're married, you can't buy one. Sorry, I'm not joking at the situation. I'm just joking at how
I understand
some of the things that go on because of these situations can be. Oh, so Simon Sideways has said in the comments he was meant to have said this is to avenge the Palestinian children and something about Alan Snackbar when he done.
Well, I haven't heard that one at all. And I've heard some pretty outlandish ones, but I haven't heard that at all.
Again, we've got to be we have to be careful. We do have to be careful when it comes to somebody said they said this or they said that.
Exactly.
We do have to be careful when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, as I said, right near the beginning of the live stream, we do have to be careful. Anybody can flip their lid, when a relationship ends. It's happened many times, and it's never going to stop happening. And just because of somebody's background, where they're from, their skin color, or any of that kind of stuff, in that situation, if it was that situation, we have to take a step back and say, well, maybe it's not just because they want death to Westerners. Maybe it's something else. Otherwise, I can't imagine him just stabbing a woman and a couple of children. I would imagine him, stabbing random people rather than a family of people.
Right. Well, it was actually a teacher and 3 kids who were just coming out of school.
Oh, right. Okay. So was it? So were these anything to do with him? Again, I don't know this. So do you know if the children or the teacher were any relation to his or something to do with him?
Well, like we're saying, there isn't a lot of media on it, like official media on it, right? So it's a lot of just people giving their opinions and stuff. And people who witnessed it as well. So that's how we're getting he's Algerian, and what happens, right? So, it's apparently he's no connection. Apparently he just lost it and did that.
Right.
I don't see anybody in their right mind with any reason would do that. But then again, the world is gone nuts at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and people are being pushed. People are being pushed to their limits. On all sides.
Yeah,
people are being pushed to their limits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. But then the only people that ever get blamed for being pushed to their limits are the so-called far right thugs.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there was far right thugs there. I mean, there is in every country, in every situation.
Oh yeah.
But I believe a certain amount of the writers were trying to send a message, right? And it's like they're burning buses and trams, and me nor you, I would ever suggest people do that. I know that for a fact. But I think what a certain amount a group are trying to say is, if you're not going to listen to us, things are going to burn down, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is my own opinion. This is what I think some of them were saying. But then again, you have all sorts of people there doing all sorts of things, right? So when the rumors were going around that the 5-year-old had died, I think tensions really, really rose, right? And even people's other agendas were being pushed through. But there's a bit of a sentiment of the people aren't being listened to, right? So I don't condone anything anybody did on that night. It's just terrible. There's other ways to deal with these things, but when you don't listen to the people of the majority of the people of the country, it's very hard as well, because there's people with all different opinions. But when people's complaints, right, fall on deaf ears, what do they do? You know, some will just retreat. Others will take it very offensively and go on the attack or whatever. So it's a very complicated situation. Like, you know, another YouTuber, I won't mention any names, another YouTuber, he was saying that he was at one of the protests in England, and he said it was very controlled. He said it was all cordoned off. The protesters had to go one direction. They start here, they finish there. And he says it's the police's form of letting people blow off steam, right? And then they blow off their steam, and then they go home, and everything's okay. So my question is, does anything really, do anybody listen to protests? You know, does anything change because of protests? You know, really should. Like,
well, I've not seen a great deal change from protests for quite a while. I've got to be honest.
Right. So do they feel like sheep being herded from one street to another? Like, all right, you protest, go on home now.
What it feels like to me is that and some people probably disagree with this, but it feels to me like we are being funneled into doing things that they want us to do, whether that's in order to then come out and say, look, we told you these people are bad, or whether it's to turn around and say, right, we need stronger laws. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I do feel that certain things
maybe both,
certain things aren't allowed as a way of causing problems between different people. You know, and let's face it, like I said with social media earlier, they love it because they get engagement on their platforms when somebody says something that somebody else doesn't like. And I think it's, you know, very similar in real life. You know, the police love it when people argue, because then they can put forwards that, well, we need more powers to be able to deal with things like that, which they don't, because with everything that goes on now, we've had going on for fucking hundreds of years, and the police have always been able to deal with it in the past. Why can't they do it now?
Yeah,
you know. So I think that there's a reason why a lot of things are allowed and some things are disallowed.
Yeah, well, I mean, they like to abuse powers, and a couple of the powers that they have abused over the years have been taken away from them. So maybe that's the difference these days.
Yes,
you know.
Oh.
You know, unfortunately, like Section 43.
You know, in Ireland, the fuck me, what's that? It has to do with carrying ammunition and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? The terrorism stuff over there, Section 43, if I remember rightly.
Well, I was talking more about Section 43 in England, right? So,
okay, sorry.
Searching you for terrorist. No, it's okay. Searching you for terrorist stuff, equipment, or whatever. So they stop auditors outside a police station and say, I can search you now because we believe you of doing terrorist activities. Or we're looking for terrorist paraphernalia. Sorry.
Well, they had to stop using Section 45, and then all they did is reimagine Section 43. You know, that's what they do. They
Yeah.
they get
And but they've lost that now.
Section 45 they have. Yeah, they lost that beginning of the
No, 43 as
2010s.
well.
Have they really?
Yeah,
I've not heard of that.
Apparently 43 as well now. And I was surprised too when I heard it there. Yeah. So I mean, we'll have to double check everything, obviously, but I was told that they lost it by well, I won't mention it.
Have a look. Section 43 of the Terrorism Act still appears to be in force.
Oh, that's weird.
Based on
I was told it wasn't by
on the legislation website. It's showing that it's still in force. It's not something that's been repealed.
Maybe they changed it, but as far as I was told by two big auditors that they had got rid of it. Maybe I'm mistaken legislations here. I'm not sure. I thought it was
maybe. I mean, there's plenty they use. I mean, 43 is quite a regular one they use now to search people. As I say, they used to use 45. That got repealed back in, I think, 2013 or 2012. So all they do is they sit there together and they go, shit, now we can't abuse people. Let's find another piece of legislation. How can how can we reimagine this piece of legislation to be able to abuse people? And that's, you know, unfortunately what they do. Tossers.
You know, for ID, they want ID. You know, it's like their addiction. ID. Like, I was going to fix anything, you know. Yeah. And you know, even like the Palestinian-Israeli thing, it's just like they've both done wrong, well, very wrong, both of them. There's no doubt about it. It's disgusting, horrible, and evil what both have done, right? But the irony is, if they were to share the country and make it a tourist haven, they would have the safety they want, they would have everything they want, the amenities, and they would all be stinking rich. But no, they gotta fight.
Unfortunately, and I don't know a great deal about the Jews, but I do know that, or I say I do know, I believe that when it comes to Islam, they, you know, their holy book or whatever isn't about sharing things. It's about conquering. It's about having it to themselves. It's about having the land to themselves, and you know, nobody else is allowed to live their life freely.
Yeah, it's not really helping, is it?
No, it certainly doesn't help. But that's an old interpretation or not interpretation. That's what the book says. But I mean, you look at a lot of other religious texts over the years. They change, they adapt to you know, civilization as it is now, not as it was, you know, several thousand years ago.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
that's a big point, actually. Yeah, that's huge. Like for example, when you think about it, right, I don't want to insult anybody, but just my own personal thoughts. Like, they don't eat pork, right?
Yeah.
And like a couple of thousand years ago, and you have pigs running around the place eating whatever they want. They probably were full of the pigs were probably dirty animals because they had everything. They weren't picky, you know, the corpses, anything. Yeah. But today they're farmed. Right? Today they're farmed and they're vaccinated and whatever. So they don't carry any of that stuff anymore. So they could probably go ahead and eat the pork, in my opinion, because that advice from the past was good advice for that time, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They probably were dirty animals at that time, you know?
Things have to...
For example, this is an example I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, well, things have to change, things have to evolve, you know, as society evolves. And unfortunately, that's one of the, should we say, one of the situations that hasn't evolved and they don't want it to. You know, I'd rather turn around and say, you know, I'm not being funny. If I was religious and my religion turned around and said, right, we're not allowed to share the world with people, we've got to kill them and this, that, and the other, I'd be like, well, hang on a minute, that means I'm going to fucking die potentially. I'd rather just get on with people. You know, can't we just say? Can't we just like the police do? Can't we just reimagine this? You know, the text in this book and say, well, you know, that was how it was thousands of years ago. It's not how it is now. Life isn't like that anymore. You know, society isn't like that anymore, and we have to move with the times.
Or it could be the end of us all.
Yeah.
To be honest. World War, like 3. You know?
Well, listen, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you for the info on the Irish stuff that's going on. Feel free to call in again.
All right, lovely to chat with you, mate. Have a good night.
Take it easy.
See you.
Bye, mate. Bye-bye. It's an interesting conversation there. I'm sure we'll have some more. We've got another half an hour of calls to take. If anybody's out there, 01515289590. Give us a ring. As you can tell, we're talking about all sorts of different things tonight. Even things I don't know much about, but that's how we learn. And I'm not afraid to say I don't know something if I don't know it. So give us a ring. As long as you're not phoning in to talk about hair transplants, because I don't know a great deal about it. I've only had the one at the moment, but I will need to get the back done again at some point. I saw somebody say they're having a problem with an abusive girlfriend. See if I can. I need help from an abusive girlfriend. What do I do? It depends what's happening. Tide and time. It depends what's happening. I mean, do you want to let us know a little bit more? Do you want to call in? Do you want to drop some information in the comments if you're still there? I mean, nobody should be abused by anybody. Let's make that very, very clear. Nobody should be abused by anybody. I understand that you know, people have arguments and we all have the ump with each other, boys, friends and girlfriends or whatever. And things are said, or you know, things are broken, for example. I don't think necessarily that any of that kind of stuff should be taken as being abusive, whereas other people will. But I think we need to, you know, we need to make sure that if women are being abusive, we need to make sure that they're held accountable as much as the men are. Okay. Can we go to the panel? We will do shortly. If we don't get any more calls in the next, I don't know, few minutes, then obviously you don't just want to sit here looking at this pasty fat fucker, do you? Let's face it. So at which point we will head on over to the panel, but we'll see what happens. Fi, I saw you mentioned something about the 13th. Was that directed at me, or was that directed at somebody in the chat? In some Holly, I'll tell you what. In some cases, you're absolutely right. Leaving an abusive partner is hard. I mean, you know what happened to me. That was the first and only time she'd ever been abusive towards me. And for me, that was it, over and done. You know, I do understand the longer you're in a relationship, the harder it is. But I was with somebody and it went tits up, and she came to my house. She stole 2 mobile phones from me, £2,000 worth of mobile phones, and poured a freshly brewed hot coffee over my bare back. And I'd only had my tattoo done less than a week. And that was enough for me. That was it for me. So I called the police. Yes, to the people out there that go, oh, you'd call the police if it happened to you, because that's an offence. So of course I'll call the police over that. So there I am on the phone to them, and she's going, he's got a knife, he won't let me go. I'm going, give me my fucking phones back and you walk out the door. He said he can't. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, she poured a hot coffee over my bare back. She's very, I've come that close to actually hitting her. Didn't, but I came that close out of a natural reaction. I had the pain on my back. I got up, I threw my arm back, and I stopped myself. Which I kind of wish I hadn't now, to be honest, because I'd have got away with it if I did plant her. But I've never hit a girl in my life. And I'm glad that she didn't make me break that. Do you know what, Seeker? I saw a video on YouTube quite a while ago now about a bloke who killed his family. Fed the neighbours with the fucking body parts. Oh, fucking hell. Fed the neighbours with the body parts. I mean, fucking hell. That is madness. Right, okay. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Audio and video, turn that down, close that, open that. Right, okay. What I'm going to do then, guys, is the lines are now closed. We've not had a call for sort of 6 minutes or so, so the lines are closed. I'm going to drop the link into the chat in just a second. And then I'm going to go make myself a quick coffee whilst you're collecting yourselves in the green room, so to speak. And then when I come back, I will let you on. But yeah, I've never hit a woman. I've held one back, and she was trying to claw my face up, so I held her back. Excuse me. And the other one was that one, the one that poured the coffee over my back. Yeah, as I say, it was more of a react. It wasn't something I was thinking about. It was just I was bent down at the time picking up my mobile phones off the floor that she just poured her drink on. And as I was doing that, she picked up my drink and poured it over my bare back. And I just sort of come up and went like this. And I was like, well, I can't do that. But I could have got away with it because she was in the process of a crime at the time within my house. Yeah, but I didn't. And as I say, I'm glad I didn't, because that would have broken 45 years of never actually put my hands on a woman in that way anyway. Right, so let's copy that link. I'm going to drop the link into the chat and pin it. As I say, it's going to take me literally 90 seconds to go and make this drink. Then I'll be back and we will get the panel going and we'll see if there's anything any of you guys want to talk about on there. So replace pinned message. There we go. And I will be back in just a second.
You are watching the Police Abusing Powers channel. Your host, Dan, is currently taking a comfort break and will be back momentarily. Your patience is appreciated. Please check the video description for channel social media links, where we share alternative content, not necessarily in video format. Did you know, contrary to popular belief, it is not legal for a pregnant woman to urinate into a police constable's helmet, unless of course their head is on fire. Due to the nature of the content and limits YouTube place on freedom of speech, your support is important. There are ways you can support the channel listed in the description. Why not participate? You can contact police abusing powers using the phone number on your screen when the lines are open, or you can Skype using Dan Pap as the contact. That's Dan P-A-P.
And we're back. Oh, we only lost 10 people while I was away. Right. God bless the UK. I'm not letting you up unless you tell me if you was the giver or the taker in that video. Or the licker or the licky. So, and I can't see you. Why can't I see you? I need to see you to make sure it's really you. Okay. Oh, what's going on? Right. Rod, I know that's Roger because he laughed when I said that.
All right, buddy.
Simon, do us a favour. Just give it, I don't know, just give us a wave. Well, that I suppose that'll do.
What, Rev? Hello. How you doing, my beauty?
Not bad, my lovelies. Yeah, that invite
right, my handsome.
extends. Sorry to well, both of you. Although sleeping arrangements is going to be interesting, the amount of people we're going to have here. But yeah,
I'm sure there won't be that much sleeping. On the 13th of January, you said, yeah.
Yeah, it's Saturday, isn't it? So I think it's going to be dead. It's the second week after the beginning, so nothing's fucking happening anyway. I'm thinking what we do is we set some of this recording stuff up in the spare room, right, with it going on the TV there and a load of mics, right, and then we have the podcasting coming in here, somebody running this shit, right, and then in between that we're going to live stream with a separate camera in the kitchen. What's his name's going to cook for us?
Who's going to cook? What? Winston.
He's going to cook us some really posh shit. So cheers. I'm looking over at you lot there, and I should be looking here where you are. But you are now there.
I bet I'll get dragged in there. I'm a chef, and I bet I'll get dragged in there with him.
Fucking suits me, mate. I ain't. All right.
Let me just double check something. So I'm gonna go see. I'm seeing my family from the 21st of December. I was gonna be down there until the until the 4th.
January.
And that's only 8 days away from coming down to see you. So it makes sense to me to stay stay put until then and come down to you. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, okay. I'm up for it. I'm up for that. Definitely. Should be interesting.
Whether you want to get here before or the day before and then just sleep.
Quite possibly, yeah. We'll sort that out whilst I'm down there. I won't call you over Christmas and that, but we'll speak with you then and we'll sort out. Yeah, that'll be good.
Same format. Fucking Paz on the fucking call-ins. What do you want? Because that was.
Yeah, which one of these do you want to speak to?
Yeah, brilliant. Because I didn't get a chance to see Paz, obviously, that weekend in London, and I'm sorry about that, by the way, because I blew you out as well that day.
My whole entire trip.
You did what to him?
I was.
Mate, this is what happens when you go on these protests. You end up passing ships. I mean, ask Base, they'll tell you about it. Like, you always end up just fucking going past, and you end up having to talk to the live stream. Where the fuck is he? And they'll tell you. Yeah. Which is pretty much what it is.
That's what I'd done. I was just in the pain was fucking unbearable, and I literally couldn't move it. So I had to. I couldn't stay there. It's so difficult for me to explain what was going through, but I couldn't stay any longer. But it
was a bad day. I needed a piss and a shit and haven't been all fucking day long. And literally, I'm to the point of blowing up, and I'm walking through fucking Palestinians in their thousands back to the van that's now parked in the middle of their fucking parade. And even when I got in there and there's a toilet, I couldn't use a fucker because I'm surrounded by the fucking enemy. Oh shit!
You should have just floor, and if you got stopped, just stay on Palestinian.
Just pushing one out here, just being culturally
I'll go on a tube train. You know, have you seen that video where someone's going up the fucking escalator and they just pulled their pants down out of shit on the escalator?
You look at some weird shit, man. I'm getting about you.
Tricky.
Yeah, you don't see anybody running around after them with a catcher pole, do you? Like they do with dogs.
Right, Loafer, do us a favour. I know it's you because you just responded to me.
What do you want?
It's in the house. Good evening, Mark Kelly.
Can you just comb those crumbs out your beard? I'll let you up looking like that.
Good evening.
Good evening, all. Good evening. So how did your live stream go earlier, Rev?
I'm still on air. Yeah, but it's early fucking doors. It was spicy.
Who did you have on?
I had Rowan. I always call him Ronan, which is really, really fucking bad because he's not. Rowan Croft, who used to be, or still goes under the name Gran Torino. Now he was going to protest. He was going to all sorts of things. He came over to London as well, and he was on the Tommy thing, and he'd get the camera in people's faces, and he's very, very eloquent, and he would put questions to people, and obviously they got the ump with him because when he was over his end, he was offering or asking the politicians and holding them to account for all sorts of things. And over there, it's not like over here, although it's going to be like that. They get like a super injunction. You can't even paint them in a bad light or say fuck all about them. Otherwise, they'll drag you through the courts and wreck you. And over there, the far left were a lot more vicious. And they were going around to his house, getting him sacked, chasing him out of places. They were fucking brutal. And this is a guy that can really handle himself. But, you know, you could only handle yourself up against so many of them. So he was chased all over the place. They took the greatest pleasure in trying to ruin his life. But there he's still going, and he's still doing live stuff. And he can command an audience, but he's so clever.
He's very good.
He's used to the English language. He's better than mine, given the fact he's Irish. Whatever. But anyway, yeah. So I might actually see if I can get that fucker over, but he is chaos. Absolute chaos. Oh,
look at the way he came straight on yours and just.
The good thing about him is you're like, oh, you're here. Oh, fuck off for a while, and you could just leave him to your channel, and off he goes.
I'll go and check your live stream later.
Well, the thing is, I sent him a StreamYard, but he's binned off Facebook and he's binned off fucking YouTube, and he went, I can't come on. I'm like, oh no, this is shit. So at the beginning, he's on my phone, and I had the phone through the system here, and I'm holding it like that for 20 minutes. And he's fucking me, freezing to death, and I'm like, this is not working. And then it crashed, and I was like, oh god. And then I managed to get it on here, show the screen on there, and then show him the screen on there on Telegram. Oh fuck me! But it worked anyway. But yeah, sport, good sport. So. But when we go over there, we got to meet up with him. You should come over. It would interest you, like the way the police are abusing powers over there and collusion.
We have
worse than they are here.
We have PSNI abusing their powers, who comes on regularly. He's got a Facebook page, and I see a lot of the stuff. And I've helped them with a few bits with the PSNI in the past. I know that, you know, there are a lot of the stuff is pretty much the same as over here, but there are some differences when it comes especially to terrorism and things like that because of what's been going on over there for donkey's years. So it is interesting, and I'd like to. I do have a passport if I need one. I don't know if I do, but I've got a passport just in case.
Yeah, you do for Southern Ireland.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. But then we left the EU and they didn't. So,
yeah.
The hard soft corner.
You can get round it. You can use your driving license to get to Northern Ireland and then travel down.
Your car would get wet, Roger, unless you put it on a ferry.
All right, Beardy. Sorry, I didn't see you in the corner, mate.
Sorry.
Oh, fuck you then.
He's hiding behind all the fucking hair, Beardy.
There is genuine facial hair thing going on here with all of us except God help the UK. And I don't know if he's got any facial hair.
Well, Dan's in amateur beard month mode.
I don't even know if God bless the UK can call me.
God bless the UK can't even grow pubes, from what I've heard.
Savage. Burn. Savage burn. I like it. No, I think yeah, which is rare, really.
It was that Gillette advert that told me that I was an evil person for being white and straight that convinced me to grow a beard.
That's every advert.
Yeah, so, and it saved me a fortune. Proper north, you know, Yorkshire. I was fucking got to look after your money. So I bought one of these. It says on it, made in China. Fucking brilliant.
Got 3 goes in that, mate. Use wisely.
I still use a pair of pet clippers.
Sponsored by Shave the Children from Calais.
I just go up next to the edge and the council pop round and get it for free.
Oh, fucking hell.
So, what do your numbers say that are watching you at the moment, Dan? Because obviously I can't see because it's different.
188 at the moment.
Cool, no worries.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think because
189.
I know you had about 600 watching early, didn't you? I believe.
It went out on 4 channels, so it was spread over. So it was about, I don't know, 800 somewhat over the 4 channels. But and it goes just you can't tell how many's on there, and it goes out on Face Ache, and you can't see there. So I just don't know.
Yeah, see, I've got Face Ache set up on StreamYard, but to be honest, my Face Ache isn't. I don't have a lot of people on there, to be honest. Everybody's on here on YouTube.
They'll go to where the comments are, won't they?
Yeah,
I only use it for advertising my videos.
So how's everybody been then?
Yeah.
Don't all you know, form an orderly queue.
You're freezing, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, not ideal weather, is it? Yes, Bearded.
We got a new veteran in the chat as well.
You got a new what?
New veteran in the chat.
Oh, do we? Who's that?
Edie.
Adi. Oh, I saw a name Adi earlier. Well, welcome, Adi.
Old school. No, it isn't actually. You need a passport for Southern Ireland. You can only travel to Northern Ireland without a passport.
What am I drinking in this cup? I'm on coffee. Oh, it's not going to show you. If I tip it too much, it's going to pour out. But it's definitely coffee. Look, you can see the steam coming off it.
Orange juice.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean to say it ain't got brandy in it, does it?
Well, no, but it hasn't. It has. I've not had an alcoholic drink since the one I had on here a couple of months back now, isn't it?
Yeah, good couple of months, 2-3 months.
Did you not have a drink when you were down there with the lads?
I didn't. No.
Good man. Good man.
No, I didn't. That's a
He was
nice
too
guy.
busy trying not to keel over.
Show him what it was like.
No, he just didn't want to have to buy another pair of bloody trainers to get home in some dry ones.
He was just avoiding paying for a round, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I didn't want to show the boys up and embarrass them. So I made sure that I stayed completely coffee total for the time I was down there. Oh, what's going on? Right, spanner in the works. I've never seen your name before. Can you do me a favour? Can you just touch your nose with your left hand for me?
Finger over the button.
Yeah, be careful.
Touch your nose with your left hand for me.
You want to jazz that up a little bit. It's too much into AI stuff going on, and we've seen what's going on with Crinkle and everything.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I've just asked somebody to touch a nose with their left hand, and I gave them enough time in case there was a delay, and they didn't, and they've turned their camera off now. So I think that tells me everything I need to know.
Dan, there is a way that you can actually get rid of the main screen that's going out. I know it's other people do it. so you can actually vet them a little bit more scrupulously before
Yeah,
they actually do anything nasty.
You can use an overlay.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Video works as well, but do you know what? It's fucking hassle. And as much as I don't want people coming on here, if somebody comes on here, all it does is it just shows them up for the fucking fuck knuckles that they are, you know.
Yeah, but look what happened to Mark Kelly.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that was Mark. So, I mean, if you got Crinkle on the panel, you don't fucking walk away and leave him on there unattended for 6 minutes, do you?
Sure enough.
Time, wasn't it?
Trust you on your own for 6 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
Simon, what's that you got in the background? Is that a Gobi lighting system you got there?
Don't know what the fuck you call it, Jeff. It's one of them, isn't it? You change it with that thing there. So blue, green, yellow.
Oh, it's just come to me. I've had a memory jog. The first time I came across Rev, I think it was about 8 years ago. There was a stream held, run by a Michigan trucker with a beard, and I think a philosophy student from Lincoln and a bloke that wears a pith helmet and a monocle. We did Sargons this week in Stupid. You popped into the chat about 8 years ago, and you were there for about 30 seconds and then buggered off.
The Britisher, if it's the one with the pith helmet. I think.
Yeah, it was Britisher, Salty Ogre, and Common Sense Guy. Crikey, we're going back some fucking years, mate.
Yeah, if they're wearing bloody pith helmets.
Yeah, the Britisher used to have quite a following, but then he got some grief, I think. I don't know if he does as much.
I just keep seeing Don Estelle now.
I was just thinking of Zulu.
Yeah, Britisher runs hot and cold with me, to tell you the truth. He used to be on a live stream, a regular co-host on Academic Agent stream. Sargon's been on there a few times, but he got so much shit from the trolls in the chat at the side. He called it a day.
We had Sargon on here one year. We got fucking hammered. Not hammered with a
That's why I don't bother with my run, zero tolerance. I don't allow them in my channel at all whatsoever.
So I've just been made really self-conscious about that mug I was using when somebody said it's a nice gay cup. So I'm using my other cup.
Beauty.
Thought out.
Using the other one, and that's not to you either. God bless. So
Don't make out. How's your Christmas? How's your turkey going?
Gobble gobble. Gobble gobble.
No.
Very boring, very dry meat turkey. If you do it right. Me and the wife, we had a goose on the table.
Spit at it, make it wet.
Yeah. Me and the missus, we had a goose on the table a few Christmases back. We're still banned from that. We're still banned from that pub.
Did it gander? What's panel? I've got to go, mate. I've got to try a takeaway. Going to go soggy. So I'll catch you later, guys.
All right,
what?
All right. Catch you later, buddy.
I said I've got to try a takeaway going soggy. Not a Thai takeaway like yours.
It's Thai brownie.
Take care. See you there.
I can murder a Chinese takeaway. Yeah.
Don't say things like that on here.
The food.
Now,
do we? Yeah. Door coming in.
Running out the door with one under his arm.
There was a bloke at a Chinese restaurant in Ilkley, and he applied for a liquor license, to sell beer on the premises rather than have the customers bring their own in. He applied for a liquor license, and the people at the council offices thought it was a joke because this Chinese fellow was called "Fuck You." I kid you not.
Okay. Just a quick question out to all the guys in the comments. Does any of you need a license to liquor?
Oh dear.
Dan. I know it's been a while, mate, but come on.
God, it's only 2 minutes to the witching hour. Can't you restrain yourself?
Floor and filth.
Please no.
Well, he's been voluntarily restraining himself for the last 3 years.
Some people like dad jokes.
Voluntary celibacy.
My wife's made you so early. I have to sprinkle talcum powder on her name for the damp patch.
Stuart B, he's been doing his own streams, mate. He has been about, but nowhere near us. We don't go near them. They don't come near us now.
Yeah, there's definitely a few people that we've withdrawn ourselves from, shall we say?
Wasn't he in the comments in something else I was watching a minute ago? Oh yeah, that was it. Glenn's. He was over there.
Yeah,
there was this Irish woman, really, really, really viciously strong accent, hard to fucking follow. And he said, "Is this one got a translator?" So, yeah, it is true. It's fucking hard to understand what the fuck it was on about. Anyway, so any dramas anywhere else? We don't talk about dramas.
No, I mean, I'm happy to talk about dramas, but I've not had any.
It was nice the way the police dealt with things today in London, wasn't it? Passing out leaflets to the protesters saying, "Please don't misbehave."
Really?
Which protesters were they handing them out to?
The pro-Palestinian in London.
Right.
They were actually handing out leaflets telling them how to behave and what orders were in place.
Could you please not riot?
Literally, that's what it was.
Please don't kill people.
Guaranteed, every one of them would have got fucking some of that and some of that. Not a single one of them would have bothered reading it, and that's just more of our money fucking wasted.
Half of them probably can't.
Well, hang on. They were pro-Israel, so you're assuming that most of them are going to be either Jewish or lefties. Yeah, they'd probably like to read it anyway, but yeah.
In China. Yeah, there was, what was it? The police were reporting 18 arrests, which was a bunch of guys they kettled, a breakaway group, and they're studying footage and still pleading with people to send footage in if they saw anything going on. The ones they arrested was because they were wearing the green headbands, but they did state they didn't look like the other ones that they were wearing, but they nicked them anyway.
They're going to, because it's still potentially a sign or writing that could cause harassment, alarm, or distress. So
yeah, and they had the temporary section 30, is it, the exclusion zones and shit like that in place again, and stop and search.
Section 60, is it?
Yeah, no, they got some temporary ones in, some stiffer ones that they've been allowed to use.
Imagine you travelled all the way there, and as soon as you get there, you get lifted. That's gutting, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Like Tommy Robinson.
Well, especially when you say I'm a fucking Zionist, I support
Israel. Didn't get past
really different.
But it was obvious, Tommy going there, it was obvious they were going to lift him, and they'll do it no matter where he goes.
Well, they're saying the organisers didn't want him there, but he's pro-Zion, pro-Israel, pro...
The organisers of which side didn't want him there?
This is it. They were very fake. So...
Yeah.
But the other thing is, someone was saying earlier on, I don't know whether it's true or not, the other reason they lifted him was something to do with this Crown Court case he's involved in.
Well,
another one.
It's just gone over like the proper media now. So they all said that Tommy Robinson, and what they did was they used footage from today of him being lifted, where he had a white top on, a white jacket, and they used, this is what I did the video, and they did footage of him allegedly on his way to court, which was the clothes he was wearing the other week when I was there, when you were there, all right? And he was coming down with Liam Tufts, his security guy in the front, which I know, a nice guy, and then it had I think Richard Inman was and the cameraman, and they were all wearing different clothes, but that was them on the way. What did they get changed in the cafe or something? Yeah, fuck off. And it's trying to paint the narrative that because they were going, oh, Tommy on the way in, right? That was the way in on Armistice Day. So, but it's all about building a picture of making little man bad. And
well, the media one today, the only bit they showed was where he was putting up a bit of a struggle when he came out the calf.
Well, they were roughing him up, and then they pepper sprayed him. Have you seen the footage of him after he'd been pepper sprayed?
Yeah, that was after they cuffed him, wasn't it?
I saw them. I saw the sergeant tell him to go away, and they're going to arrest him for breach of the peace. And then I saw the sergeant write down on his dispersal notice, and then they escorted, or I'll use that word loosely, him away. And then I believe at a later point he was seen being put into the back of a police van.
Well, he's managed to video himself inside the police van. Do you want to see it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right, hang on a second. I'll present. Hang on, I've got to find out how I do this. Mr. Skills. Let me see if I can actually. Whoa! Cheers. Let me see if that's actually showing up.
All right.
No, I don't think it is. Hang on, let me go again. Sorry, my bad. And
No, it showed up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna, that'll be better. There, try that.
Right.
So,
Just make sure. Can you all hear? Can you hear that? Just play it for a second.
We can.
For what? For what? Yes, that's my strategy was. For what? That's your two-tier policing system. I swear to God, lost their job for that, bro. I'm a journalist. You saw there was no alarm distress. People are happy to see me. It's disgusting. I've got to trip to hazard size.
He looks like he's had an allergic reaction to that because his face is all swollen, his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be an irritant, not something that causes swelling.
I don't know, actually. I've never luckily had pepper spray in my face, but
it's just supposed to just make your eyes sting and run and snot fall out and everything.
The worst thing you can do is rub them.
Yeah.
The fact he's in the back of the van and he's got his phone on him, to me, that would indicate that he hadn't been arrested. Obviously, he was being taken away from the area. They said initially about disturbing the peace. This is what they do if you're disturbing the peace. They'll take you out of the area so you can't be there around that peace disturbance anymore, right? So that, to me, would indicate that he hadn't been arrested. He'd been put in the back of the van to get him out of the area rather than actually arrest him. But I could be wrong. Maybe they've arrested him and didn't fucking search him. But then it's unlikely. I mean,
especially the coppers that were there.
Yeah.
But they would have wanted to get out of the place quite quickly in case any of his supporters would got the ump. I know that Ginger Tony got bulldozed and dropped by the police going through.
He was he was with all the but from what I saw, the video, and it was only a short video that I saw, but it looked to me that he was with all the pro-Jewish, pro-Israel crowd. And there wasn't a single person there that had an issue with him being there that I could see.
Right, I've got footage for you here.
And that crowd wouldn't have actually been anywhere near the pro-Palestinians at the time. So to take him away for any of those reasons is just bogus. Go on, if you've got another video, Si.
I don't know if this will get any bigger.
Just rub it.
What's going on?
Shame on you!
Okay. I'm just here to do my job, lads.
Why are you so blatant to her, eh?
Do we have freedom of the press or not? You do know he's a supporter of Israel, don't you? Do you know he's a supporter of Israel? Do you know he's a supporter of Israel? Who am I causing alarm of distress? Do you know he's a Zionist? Who am I causing alarm of distress to? This man is a Zionist and a supporter of Israel and he's been arrested. Who am I causing alarm of distress to? No, you tell me who.
It goes on, but basically, the guy won't listen to him. This guy here, you can see that, right, is trying to get his address live on air.
Yeah,
to dox him.
That's the video that I saw earlier.
Yeah, I'll stop that now.
He actually turned around and said, "Oh, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me to give my address in front of all these people.
You must be mad." Yeah, it's fucking pot. It's mental. So, but he is the enemy. They always go after the secondary problem. Say, for instance, there's a group of individuals that are holding a woman or a young kid against her will and doing things to her, and I've got to be polite here. Then when the father goes around to release the child, the police nick the father. You're like, that's madness. Yeah, in the city.
That was the argument that Douglas Murray made at his Danish free speech acceptance speech. Was it the Triskan something or other? He accepted a free speech award at a Danish Free Speech Society. The same people that give Giles Posten an award you know, the Danish equivalent of Charlie Hebdo. And he actually made a really good defense of Tommy Robinson. He said he doesn't like his methods. You know, street group protests always attract the wrong sort. You never know whether there's agents of the state have infiltrated it to deliberately, you know,
they were
cause problems or everything. I got him on my Twitter account. Douglas Murray defends Tommy Robinson. I can't blame Tommy Robinson when you got somebody that's vilified, demonized for exposing one of the biggest, most fucking horrendous crimes of the fucking century. When you get somebody like that breaking it and the state don't want it to come out, then they're going to fucking destroy him. Utterly destroy him. It's a Douglas Murray in defense of Tommy Robinson. I'll throw it in the chat if I can find it. Dan, if you want to throw it out into the comment section, you do so.
Me and Baseback Welshman were up there one day, and he commandeered a bus with a load of others and was videoed, right? And I was in the front line where they brought out the riot crew, and they were putting anybody into this kit. And there was this woman in front of me, which had to be about fucking 5 foot, Asian, as in Chinese type looking girl, and petrified. This hat was falling off her and all the rest of us. What are you doing? But when I moved away, there was like, you can go down towards Buckingham Palace. Is that the Mall? I don't know. I'm not very good with London, right? And we had like the big tall statue.
Mall goes from Buckingham Palace down to Admiralty Arch. It's the red tarmac
through Admiralty Arch, right? The police were near Admiralty Arch. Then you've got the what they call it, the things that stop the happy people creating a carry, right? They can shut the gates, right? Terrorism gates, whatever the fuck they are, right? So the old bill on the other side of the terrorism gates, we're this side, and this agent provocateur is trying to encourage everybody to get into the old bill. So we've obviously looked at him and gone, fuck you idiot, right? Anyway, he's trying to egg everybody on. Nobody went for it. But later on the way back from there, there's all these riot vehicles, right? And the police sit in the front, basically, and the middle, and in the back would be somewhere if you arrested somebody to go in there. Well, this bloke, the agent provocateur, is having a cup of coffee with these other officers, and you knew that he was old Bill, and it was like, wanker. And there's so many of them. And in the early days when we used to go down there, we'd go and have a drink in a couple of the pubs, and up would be these, oh, I'm a great fan of you, Rev. Can we have a chat? Oh, yeah. And they're always trying to fill you out, and they were filth.
Yeah, can we have a chat? That's the fucking phrase, isn't it? Can we have a chat? We just want to chat.
Yeah. And then people trying to stick money in your hand, and you're like, and who are you?
Well, I'll tell you what, when I worked in the bikers pub down in Cornwall, people always ask why I've got DS tattooed on the back of my hand.
My initials.
We used to know all the drug squad in Cornwall. So they'd come in there with their half pints, they'd sit at the bar trying to talk to people, and I'd be walking up and down behind the bar going like this so every fucker knew. Because they knew what was on my hand.
I thought it was to do with a bike, didn't start. Anyway, I'm going to have to grab some food, and I'm going to go to bed and gym in the morning.
No worries.
You've been doing a lot of streaming this weekend, mate.
Yeah, it's been a bit busy. So, anyway,
I will be in touch though, and we'll definitely sort out the 13th as well. That'd be fucking wicked.
No worries. That will be a laugh, and we haven't done anything for a while. And there's fuck all to look forward to at the moment, so that's it.
Well, it'd be a good wind down after New Year as well, wouldn't it?
Well, I'm not expecting that much of a new year, to be honest. I haven't got anything planned. I'm going to have a quiet one, but that's the plan. Although it never goes to plan, does it?
Well, there'd be some protests in London, I expect. You want to go to them?
We've got to be careful not to upset people with our traditions.
Fuck them. Policy.
Just
anyway,
the truth. It's a pagan festival. That'll piss them off.
Well, that's the tree bit, isn't it? That's that part sorted, but whatever. Anyway, look, I'll bid you all farewell, and I'll speak to you soon.
I'll catch you later, Rev.
Night, Simon.
All right, Rev. Take care, buddy.
Nice for sight to jump up there.
Yeah. He has been doing a lot of streaming this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be wicked to wicked. Fuck me, I'll do remind like one of the kids these days. Yeah, it'd be wicked, man.
Wicked.
Turn into Chubby Ali G.
Yeah, be. Oh yeah, I've lost weight, you back.
But the other thing with that, Dan, if you're coming straight up from London, I don't know whether the main line is still open straight through from there through Didcot. But if you're coming this way, if you're changing at New Street, I can meet up with you there.
Well, I'd be going across because it's from where I am. Where I'm down, where I'm going to be is down here, and I need to go up a little bit and straight across.
Yeah, you'll come across it, Didcot. You'll cut off before Didcot, I expect, on the old West Coast line.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll check out the. We'll speak through the week. I'll check out the
Just get the train to Birmingham and get the train down from Birmingham together.
Yeah, but then that means I've got to be on a fucking train longer than I need to.
It'd have to be on it longer because the other one is a bit more direct. I used to use it from Oxford, and I used to travel to Didcot because I couldn't get on at Oxford where, you know, it branches off before
but if
that.
I'm driving you down,
Don't worry, Secret Dad will be with you.
if we're driving down, he'd only have to come to Birmingham and then he could jump in the car.
Yeah.
I've just
You
been
didn't
called
get a chance to do a DNA test at last.
I've just been called a boomer.
Oh dear.
So that's
one thing you can't accuse me of being.
You completely throw me now, Holly, calling me a fucking boomer.
Actually, Roger is part of the boomer generation.
Yeah, post-war.
Yeah.
50s and 60s.
Yeah. Post-Napoleon and...
John, hello.
I've been banned from a channel called Real North Media. Is he a good lad? Real North, I've never really dealt with him. I think
I've never had a problem with Rob.
I think we've spoken of
real.
Yeah,
that's a shit channel.
I don't see him very often, but when I have spoke to him, I've never had a problem with him. He's always courteous to me.
Right, something really important. I've got to ask everybody: do I look like I've lost weight?
Yes,
ever so slightly. Yeah.
Where?
That's my point. Because I got some batteries delivered today from scales.
Steady.
And I got on.
That'll help him lose weight.
You got batteries delivered, special, did you?
The last time I got on my scales, it said one at a time, please. Right. But I got on my scale. The last time I was weighed, and I really shouldn't say this out loud, but the last time I was weighed, I was close to 18 stone. Believe it or not.
My leg's 18 stone. Don't worry.
And I weighed myself today, and for some reason, it used to have fucking stone and pounds on it, but it doesn't anymore for some reason. I think somebody's stolen that part of my fucking scales. It's only got kilos and pounds now. So I weighed myself, and it was in pounds first of all, and I checked that, and it said 15, well, nearly 16 stone. And then I changed it over when I realised where the switch was to change it over onto kilograms. No, yeah, onto kilograms, and it said fucking just over 16 stone. Well, obviously it can't make its mind up, but if that's the case, I've lost fucking not far off of 2 stone in about a couple of months, which isn't too bad. But I can't see it at all. I cannot see
you
it.
finally got laid or something?
No, not yet. Still waiting.
Oh, so you're still walking around with space operas?
I'm saving myself for the right woman.
Voluntarily.
One that can't run away.
He's calling.
Hi.
That's why she wants you in the car.
Do us a favour, Tina. Just give us a little wave. Thank you.
Any chance to be with Dan? No, Roger had talked about going down, and we said about driving down. And at that point, I said, well, if it would make sense for Dan to come to us and then come down in the car, it's far easier.
I'll tell you what we need to do. Heather, right, is we need to tell Roger that I'm going to meet him at a train station away from yours. And when he leaves to go to that train station, I'll come and see you.
Yeah, but then you'd have to make your own way because he'd fuck off with the car.
Yeah, I'll just stay with you for the week.
Sounds like
Can
a
we
plan.
check?
Shush.
Can you check?
Shush. Don't say it.
What?
Tina.
Can you check my audio, Dan? Is it okay?
It's fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Cool, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
Have
I
you
was
shrunk
up there,
to-
I just weighed myself, and I'm quite shocked. 13.9.
Fucking hell. You want some of my flab?
Usually I'm around about 15.
You've lost a fair bit, Roger.
Yeah.
But he's lost the muscle and he's gained the stomach.
Yeah, that's the issue. My muscle loss has been terrible since I haven't been working and riding the bikes and that.
Right.
Especially in my legs. Oh, I'm all out of breath now. I've only been up one flight of stairs.
It's good to see everybody. Good evening, Mike. I think that's Loafer up there. Good evening, Loafer.
Hello, darling.
All right, dear.
You only ever see him from there to there.
I know I can never see his head.
Occasionally, I have to stand up, otherwise my legs go numb.
Yeah,
Blair,
I get that.
Just do that for me, Blair.
Because mine, my leg muscles go into spasm as well. Good evening, Brian. Hey, mate.
How you doing? Just bring the names
I
up.
was
You know,
well over 18 at one point.
It's hard to get it off when you get a certain age, I think, and depending on what medication you take as well. Because I've always looked at medication when it comes to disability, because they don't realise that medication has a lot of effects. Part of those could be weight, part of those could be condition, not getting any sleep, lots of pain. You can have lots of stomach issues. This is what they don't look at. They look at you as a person, and you're in that age bracket, Roger, like me. You have to be a certain weight, a certain height. My doctor said to me, you should be 9 stone. I said, I was when I was 20. It's a bit late to fucking worry about that now.
Come on. I went up to about 18. My lowest was probably about 19, 20 years ago, and I went down to under 11. But that was through stress. And I went from just under 18 to under 11 in 3 months.
But they expect you to stay the same weight you were when you were teenagers. This is what annoys me with GPs. They want you to go backwards to what you were in your 20s.
Go see a private doctor then, because a general practitioner just doesn't have a clue. Now, GPs asking you questions like that's just stupid. Everybody's bone density is different, so the bones could be heavier, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what age you are, you could be a completely different weight for somebody who's like more or less the same size as you, but they've got a bigger bone density. The bones are heavier, they're muscular, they're more muscular, they're carrying more muscle than they're carrying fat, so they could be heavier. Whereas if somebody's just carrying like water weight, fat, that might not be as heavy as the muscle itself.
Yes, I agree. But the thing is, they also forget about one big thing. Genetically, we are not the same. Each of us has a different DNA and genetics in the past. So some of our... You've also got to look at World War I and World War II. They were skinny back then because they had no damn food.
And what they did was
they rations.
Food.
Well, yeah.
Really, like, I've got to look at my uncles. Some of my uncles, they're big guys. And I mean big guys. And I look at them and then they look at me and I go, what went wrong within the years for me being born and the years that they were born? Because they're like 4 times the size of me, like height, bulk, you know what I mean? They're big guys. Like my uncle, he worked driving trains, you know what I mean? One of them was a bouncer, but their bulk, their size, they're like big bodybuilders, you know what I mean? But that's just natural to them. They didn't work out for that. They didn't go to the gym all the time, you know what I mean? That was just their natural bulk. But I didn't get that. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It misses. Yeah. It can miss.
I was just making a note there to ask my consultant when I speak to her next. Brian, bone density. Now, you've just got me thinking there, because the problem with my bloods is stemming from the bone. They think it's stemming from the bone, making the red cells fat. So I'm just wondering whether my weight loss is working. So that's what I just made a note and stick it to my board so I don't forget to ask her.
That's a
Rest
good
of the day,
question,
you're
Roger.
going to be losing density or something like that.
Well, I've always been not thick boned, but I've always been strong boned. I've always been active. I've always done sports, mountain biking. I've walked 8 hours a day for a living before I gave that up behind mowers and things. But now, because I'm absolutely doing nothing, but that could be an issue. That could be what's doing it, because I'm eating the same food. I'm not burning the calories up because I'm not moving about. But
Are you on any certain medications?
The medications I'm on shouldn't affect my weight. They're mainly blood thinners and.
I know that. Well, my uncle was good stuff. He had cerebellum attacks. They were giving him painkillers, but the painkillers they were giving him were actually calcium killers, and they done more damage to his bones than anything else.
The only painkillers I take are well, there's a lot that I can't take. I can take cocodamol, and if I need anything stronger, I switch to tramadol, because I can't take any of these modern painkillers with the blood thinners I'm on.
I do not take any painkillers.
Yeah, that's the other problem, Brian. I've got no teeth to drain any calcium from. I've only got 7 of my own left. Oh, I suppose I could put plastic in the system.
Strangely enough, I had a text message over the past week. I've had 2 text messages over the past week. One of them, I've got to go and have a scan on my liver on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it's Tuesday. I've got to go have my liver scanned because I had a blood test done a couple of months ago, and it showed some elevated levels of something. So I need to have my liver scanned. But I had a text message from a what's it called? Clinical trial place.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I'm not doing it. It's just weird how this clinical trial place has contacted me saying, oh, we're looking for people who we can test for this, and this. Well, not test, but try new treatments for. And one of them was the weight loss. Now, I find it very weird, very strange. I've not contacted anybody.
Your doctor does it. Your doctor does it.
Well, I need to speak to the cunt, excuse me, about that, because if he put my details to something like that, then he should have fucking asked me first.
Well, if you've got system online, which a lot of doctors have got, or you're part of My Care through the hospital, they don't need your permission to share. If you didn't opt out of sharing 2 years ago, they can share your data with anyone. They don't care anymore. They can even give it to
including the police and
they sell your information.
It's this backdoor digital information that Tony Blair digital ID that is trying to bring in. They're trying to usher it in by the back door. If you do not consent to share that information, they can't do it.
Video when they first said about it, telling people and showing
Remember,
people
Roger?
where to go to opt out of it. If you didn't opt out, as Tina rightly says, they can still share your data now.
Yeah, well, I'll be contacting the doctor and telling them to fucking take me off everything.
It's not through your doctor. They do have the forms there, but they won't give them to you. You're better off doing it online.
Right. Well, this is for a company called Panthera Biopartners.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it was, as I say, I've only spoken to the doctor and I have spoken to the hospital and I've spoken to the doctor about losing weight. Other than that, I've just spoken to friends and family. But this is, for forthcoming clinical trials designed to achieve a change in body weight in individuals with a BMI greater than or equal to 30 kilograms per meter square, which I am over that.
Bear in mind, you have talked about your weight on streams and that, and the algorithms will pick that up and send you advertising for that.
Yeah, but this is a text message.
Yeah.
It's not an email or anything like that. This is a text message, which means that somebody's this is a text message to the number that's not associated to the channel.
Yeah, they're doing investigations into cardiovascular disease, COPD, fatty liver disease, paid vaccine trials, and healthy volunteers. Most of this is coming from the United States. I've got
There's
Crohn's disease.
If you go back, it was only a couple of weeks ago, team. I did a video on a letter that I got.
Yes,
that
you
they're
did.
sending
Yeah.
out all over the country.
Yes. But they
It's a
tried to.
private company.
It is. And basically,
Wow.
the one they tried to get me on was for, they said, for my Crohn's disease. When I got the tablets, I didn't ask for the tablets, but they sent them to my house. So I thought, oh, what's this? So I read it, and it's an American trial for a drug called cofefilam. Now, that causes over 20 different symptoms, which can leave you in chronic pain and not being able to eat, all those kind of things. This is a trial drug. And I sent a message back to my GP, said, I'm not taking that. When I looked into the drug, it's nothing to do with my stomach. It's to do with cholesterol, where I don't have a problem, and sugar levels, where I don't have a problem. So they were trying to put me on a trial drug.
The statins.
I know, it's crazy. So I said, no, stick it up your ass. You can have your pills back.
Yeah, this what got. I looked at the FAQs on this website, and what this bit that I read is risks are involved in clinical research, as in routine medical care and activities of daily living. Most clinical research studies pose side effects that are temporary and go away when the treatment is stopped. However, some research subjects experience side effects that can be permanent or require medical attention. Some side effects appear during treatment, while others do not show up until after the treatment is over. Now, we all know that kind of thing happens, but when you see it, and obviously they've got to put that down on their paperwork and stuff. But when you see that in writing, you could be fucked just for trying to help us out. And I think to myself, no, thank you. So so they won't be getting my details on that form, that's for sure.
Future Health. That was it. That's the one
yeah.
Just to point out, well, I know Sean sort of commented a minute ago about skinny men and stuff. I don't want to be skinny. I don't. I've never been skinny in my life. And I'd look fucking stupid if I was skinny. But what I do and am trying to lose is the fucking belly more than anything. The belly and this, more chins than a Chinese phone book. I want to lose that. And that's what I can't seem to lose. I don't drink excessive. I know, Pete, some of you disagree, but I don't drink excessive amounts of alcohol. I don't to get a beer belly, right? But I cannot get rid of this fucking belly. And that's the main thing for me is my gut, and that's what I want to try and get rid of, which is why I want to try and lose weight. I mean, being broad and all that stuff, I'm fine with, but the fucking belly sticks out more than I'm fucking wide.
When you get to your 50s, there's not a lot you can do about it. If you're slightly rotund or you're carrying a little bit of muscle, unless you're actually exercising regularly, doing your sit-ups or working in a physically demanding job, you'll get to a certain age as a man and you will grow belly.
But this is the thing for me, though, Lofa, right? I'm unable to do the amount of exercise that I need to burn the calories that I need at the moment.
Same as, yeah.
And the problem that I've got is some of it is because I'm heavy. So if I can lose some of that weight in one way or another, then I'll be able to be a bit more active. I'll be able to carry myself for longer. I'll be able to walk for a bit longer. I might not be, huge amounts longer because of the stroke effects that I've got, but I will be able to walk a bit further, which means I'll be able to burn a few more extra calories. And that's the issue that I've got. I can't at the moment physically burn enough calories because it wipes me out after, I'll burn about fucking 10% of what I need to and I'll be fucked.
What about the shaker machines?
Say again.
What about the shaker machines? It's like the man belt, it gets the thing moving and it just slowly but surely burns the fat off.
Steve Alden can't do the gym the same as me because of the ME. We wouldn't last 5 minutes in the gym if we could even get to one.
Obviously, that uses electrical pulses.
Yeah, they do work, but the thing with Dan's problem is he's had some strokes. So if you start introducing EMS vibration, that could give him another stroke. You've got to be careful what you use. You do have to be careful with your conditions. Okay, so any kind of electrical pulses are not good for somebody that's got like strokes and TIAs and all that kind of stuff. That's what I mean. I've been banned from physio. They keep saying go to physio, but I can't because I've got osteoporosis. They won't allow me to use the gym because in case I have a fracture, because they'll be liable.
They told me it was dangerous if I went back to work because of the polycythemia. I'm at high risk of blood clots, and they said you could just drop at work and you'd be a danger to yourself and others.
Did you hear, Dan, about the changes to mental health regarding benefits?
I've heard something recently, but without checking my notes, I can't.
When the Jeremy Hunt did his chat, a bit more came out about that. They're trying to remove mental health as a reason for being disabled.
Oh, okay.
That sounds about right with these evil fucking Tories.
They're going to assess you to see if you can work from home and what you're capable of doing. If they deem you're capable of doing something and you don't look for that work or find it within a year, they'll stop your benefits.
Well, they can stop the ESA support if you're on PIP, but they can't stop your PIP. That's a separate benefit. So let's clear that one up. What gets me, Roger, and everybody on the panel, I don't know whether or not you check statistics. Last year, 1.5 million NEETs, not in educational training, are still on job seekers. Okay, they're not being made to go to work. That's 1.5 million. Okay, this year it's 1.7 million. There are also nearly 2 million on income support whose kids are in school, but they still don't have a job. So why are they going after the disabled and the retired?
Because it's the easy target.
Because they need the money to pay the immigrants that they're bringing into the country. They need to make more benefits to somewhere.
It just doesn't sound fair to me when you've got people who are not in college, not in university, and sat on their ass playing on their PlayStation, their fucking phones, and they won't make them get a job.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. These people who are coming to the country, they don't speak your language. They're never going to be able to integrate into your society. They're never going to get a job. They're constantly going to be on the benefit system, and they're never going to contribute to this nation. So why are we bringing them here?
Well, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons.
They get more votes because these people are coming in, they're getting handed the leaflets, and they vote for the politician on that leaflet. Because this person brought me to this country, this person's giving me all these benefits, this person's did this person's did that. And they're doing a lot more for them than they are for us. And they know they're going to get their vote. So the more they bring in, the more votes they get.
But you're right. And anybody who is offered that chance, if a politician turns around and says, if you vote for me, we'll pay you to live for the rest of your fucking life.
We know how much they lie.
They're going to get voted.
They all die. You've only got to look at it. You've only got to look at Sir Keir Starmer's record. In 2003, he was the one that took it to court to make sure that migrants coming here automatically get benefits. In 2020, 21 and 22, he was the one that went to court and stopped the government removing anybody from this country that's here illegally. So people are now saying everybody should vote Labour. I'm not voting that twatting. No way. I think Guy Fawkes had the right idea. Sorry.
It's not just because Keir Starmer, David Cameron did something, and I can't remember, was it Jeremy Hunt was his chancellor at the time? They were railroading through legislation to actually get people who are physically disabled or emotionally, mentally disabled to get them off the benefit system. I think there's a journalist called Sonia. In fact, I was only watching it earlier today when I should have been really plastering the ceiling. Sonia Poulsen did an expose on it. She's one of the few independent journalists left that's really worth listening to. But that's another deep dive. These evil globalist Tories, the Labour Party just want immigrants who will vote Labour, and the Tories just want cheap Labour so they can keep everything down. But it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because all the fucking jobs have been sent to fucking Southeast Asia.
Shows how idiotic their system is. There was one that was interviewed the other day. He's been here 2 years. He came over on a boat. He is still living in a hotel. He is working full time, paid for a charity, but he's still getting all the benefits for free living in the hotel. So what he gets from his wages is in his pocket.
Yeah. Beaky, I said exactly that last week, exactly those words. Politicians like prime ministers,
The real bosses, we do see.
they're not the people. They're not the people making the decisions.
No, they're exchangeable and they're interchangeable.
They're the face. They're the face of the people. Okay, because the people need to
making
remain.
the decisions are the ones in the Bilderberg group. So you do know their faces. It's like Sir Whoopi Goldberg, Bill Gates. They've got their own wee special club.
It's not just them. There are people who are far more influential than any of those people.
Aye, the bankers, the Rothschilds, you know what I mean? People who run the banks.
Bill Gates and that are also getting their strings pulled.
These people who we apparently
because
owe
they've
this
got the money
that we
to put
didn't
things
borrow.
in place that the others want.
It's funny how the government take all these loans, but we're the ones who need to pay it back.
We're more
We didn't
heavily
request
taxed
the
now.
loan.
We're more heavily taxed now as a nation than we were in 1954 when rationing ended after the Second World War by stealth taxes, one tax or another. There's a lot of people who are actually underemployed. There's an awful lot of people who are actually going out working 20, 30, 40 hours a week are only slightly better off than those people who are legitimately drawing legitimately drawing benefits, are those that are skimming the system, and it breeds hostility and resentment. Basically, all they want to do is keep the lower orders, the working classes, fighting amongst themselves so that they can keep going to the fucking bank. And pretty soon they'll be coming for the middle classes as well. They'll be coming for all these virtue-seeking fucking middle class people with their EVs and all this sort of shit and the special bags for fucking dividing all the food up. For some goes to landfill, all that shit. Essentially, the fucking globalists will come for everybody.
But the other thing with Sunak is he keeps bleating on about he's bringing the figures down on the economy and that, and the interest rates. He doesn't control them. Bank of England controls them. He's got fuck all to do with it. It's them that adjust the rates, not him. It's nothing to do with him.
Who respond to that comment?
Vote them all out, let public decide who gets in charge. So it doesn't matter who you put in charge. State parliament is state parliament. You have to comply with the laws they create. You get a wage, but you must do exactly as you're told. You don't have a voice in parliament. You're a puppet.
You sign your voice over to the MPs. Now, if you take, for instance, and I'm just picking 4 numbers out of the air, no other parties. Labour have got 4 MPs in there. The Tories have got 5. The Tories will always win because they get the majority. That majority gives them the right to rule this country.
Yeah.
Do you know what voting actually means?
Voting means
you have given up your right to someone else because you aren't smart enough to think for yourself, and you've given your consent for this person to speak for you. That's all that is.
Yeah,
and you need to withdraw that consent by, like I say, there is no confidence, a vote of no confidence in anybody. If there's no confidence, how can they put somebody in power?
I've been banging on about
confidence in anybody who's running. You can't place anybody in that seat.
The problem that we've got is you will never get everybody to not vote. So what will happen is if nobody votes, right, but one person, whoever that one person votes for is gonna, he's gonna win, right?
The MPs can vote for themselves, and that still counts towards the majority.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if we just say, everybody gets it together and says, right, nobody's going to vote anymore, right? You will never get everybody to do that. So even if just one person votes, the person who is voted for is, in theory, supposed to be the one that takes over. But you will never ever get everybody to not vote. There is always going to be
that one person's vote would be outcounted by the MPs voting for themselves.
I know. I'm just I'm forgetting that bit for the moment. So I'm just
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah.
But the what was I going to say? Fuck. Come back.
Sorry, mate. I interrupted you.
No, it's all right. It's fine. Oh no, come back. Don't make me look a twat. Come back. Oh, it's fucked off. It'll come back in a minute. It will.
My bad.
No, it's fine.
Can I ask you a question, Dan? Huh? Can I ask you a question?
Of course, by all means.
I've had several messages sent through. They want me to consider doing my YouTube channel. If I do a video just to explain who I am and what I do, would you and Roger look at it for me and give me some critique back on it?
Yeah, of course I will.
Right. I've got to work out how to do that first.
As will Roger.
What?
Right, remember, sex sells.
We'll look at it. And don't worry, I'm not.
I wouldn't say that to Tina. She'd give you a slap.
Meet me in person, you'll know. So, yes, I'm a bit feisty.
Tina, get an OnlyFans page as a dominatrix, and anybody that pays you any money, tell them they're all flats.
Thanks, Luther.
In fact, actually, knowing my missus, that could be another fucking way of boosting her income, because she doesn't half nag me. I deserve it most of the time. I deserve it.
I bet Tina's got a dungeon just waiting for you.
No, I like people. I don't disagree. We have different opinions, that's all. We don't disagree. I don't hate people. There's no hate in me, no worries. But if somebody crosses the line and takes me on, forget it. I'm not going to stand and take it.
Honey badger, Tina. Do you know honey badger is an animal that can take on animals much more bigger than itself? It's tiny
Vicious
things.
little bastards.
They are fierce. They don't give up. Even lions will think twice about taking on a honey badger.
And
do you call them honey badgers?
Be more honey badger.
Right.
So that's a totally different entity to a honey beaver.
Yeah. Oh my God, Roger. If I put it in a different way, if I put it in a different way, I can't go to, well, I could go to hell, but the devil would have to leave. And he fucking would if I turned up. That would be my domain. Hell on earth.
We've got a unity party. The Tories and the Labour Party are interchangeable. I've heard people say that Rishi Sunak and Keir Starmer are on first-term friendly terms. So eventually, if one gets voted out, the others get in. Now, because we've got the first-past-the-post system, we don't have proportional representation. What's happened recently in Holland with the Farmers Alliance with Geert Wilders? You know, that notably far-right person. Far-right bullshit means nothing. I'm old school fucking Labour at the end of the day. I'm a small, I'm a blue, I'm a small C conservative, old school Labour. You don't get those people anymore. They're a fucking evil globalist, and it all started with Tony Blair. Margaret Thatcher, when she was asked by a journalist, when she was out of Parliament for a long time, some journalist said, Mrs. Thatcher, what's your greatest legacy? It wasn't the Falklands War. It wasn't winning 3 elections. She said, my biggest legacy is the creation of New Labour. And when David Cameron, you can fucking find this for yourselves, fact check it if you think I'm full of shit. When David Cameron came to power, he said, I'm continuing the legacy of Tony Blair. That man is an evil globalist fucking shill. So it don't matter. I'm sorry to be a complete doomer. But it doesn't matter. We've got a uni party, and they're evil globalists.
Yeah, and it doesn't surprise me at all that they're fucking friends. I mean, look, it's an act. The majority of everything that goes on in the House of the Parliament is an act. It is for the camera. It is to make people believe that there are 2 different parties that want 2 different things when they don't. They don't want different things.
But even if one party gets in and tells the public they're going to change all these laws, they can't. If it's an act of parliament, it takes 4 years to get it put through. So if they've only got a 4-year, 5-year term, they're a bit stuck to change the policies they're saying to the public they disagree with. They can't change shit.
Tony Blair introduced more legislation during his tenure than the years between 1914 and when he came to power in 1997. Petty little acts, loads and loads of legislation just railroaded through, little by little, but drip by drip.
And we've seen how easy that gets done under the pretense of something else, haven't we? We've seen that over the last few years, how legislation has to get through in the blink of an eye, which clearly has not been scrutinised properly. Because if you put it this way, if legislation needs to be scrutinised properly, and it normally takes, let's just say 12 months for argument's sake. Let's say any piece of legislation, in order for it to be scrutinised properly, takes a minimum of 12 months, right? Which kind of makes sense because it needs to be dissected and looked at properly, right? So when they turn around and they say within a couple of months, they say, right, we've got this piece of legislation that's now going, how anybody in their right fucking think to themselves, well, this has got to have been scrutinised properly and this is all in our fucking favour, has got to be a fucking idiot.
Yes, no. If you look at universal credit, that was brought in by the Conservatives. Now, if you look at the benefits legislation, it says that a person or persons need a certain amount of money they need to live on. So why did Theresa Coughley, the fat twat that ate all the food in Parliament that could barely fucking walk, she basically put the button on it. So whenever they wanted to, they pushed the button and stopped your benefits. So what happened then basically was during COVID, thousands of people lost their money. Several people couldn't afford to pay their rent. Over 500 people just in England lost their homes. They became homeless because of that stupid law that they brought in. If you don't do as we tell you, we're cutting off your universal credit. We're stopping it. Bingo. That should never be allowed because the government law states you must have a livable amount to be able to pay your bills and get food. That's the law. But they keep breaking it with universal credit.
Well, they've been breaking it for years for like people that owe money. I mean, the amount people get in their benefits is what is deemed as the minimum amount they need, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. That's the minimum amount they need, and you've owed somebody money. How can they then turn around and say, we're going to take £5 or £10 a week off of you to pay for a debt that you've got? Because that then means that you're not living on the amount of money that is minimal amount to live on.
Exactly. So an introduction was brought in
by your consent.
By 10 years ago. Well, it's not consent. They can drop it anyway. They can take it whatever they like. They used to. But I've taken cases to court where people have been paying money back because they might have missed their rent or they missed a benefit or whatever. The maximum amount that the courts adjusted it to was £3.50. That's all it was, £3.50 to £3.75 per month. So I took the courts on because when you're an offender, you have to pay court fines. I know some people might know about it, some might not. But when you've got to pay court fines, I had one young man living off £10 a week and he had epilepsy. He couldn't even buy food because they were taking so much money out of his benefit for fines through the court. And I said, this is not acceptable. He's not living, he's existing. He's just about surviving. And the judge listened and he changed it. And he said he went to the £3.95 per month.
Well, you look at what they're talking about now.
Tina,
about this on Friday.
the problem we have
hang on,
is if
Blair,
you do not know...
Blair, I started to say something there, mate. Hang on, buddy. You'll get your say in a minute. They're talking about in Parliament now of giving the DWP direct access to your bank account if you are on benefits, where they can go in and remove benefits from your bank account. If you've got money going in, they'll be able to see deposits and outgoings. And if you don't follow the rules, your benefits will be docked. They will look at you buying something, someone's lent you some money, or even a family member has given you some money. If they see that appear in your account, that amount will be deducted from your benefits.
Currently, as the law stands,
discussing that at the moment.
If they do bring that in, that's also illegal. That's also illegal. So I would challenge that because
that's
at the
why
moment,
they're trying to pass an act so they can bring it in.
At the moment, right, basically, when I'm asked for my bank statements to do with council tax and everybody's got to send them in, I cross out my account number, my sort code. I cross out my outgoings because the only thing they're allowed to see by law is what you have coming in.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what
as
they're
in
trying
money.
to change. That's
Yeah,
what
but I don't think it'd be legal. I would take that to court. I literally would take that to court.
They'll make it legal. That's what he's doing now. He's passing laws to get his own way.
That's bad.
See, that's the thing, right? With the law, if you do not know your rights, you don't have any. So, if you, the individual, are clueless about certain things, you're not going to get any help with the courts. They're not going to help you. They're not going to give you any information, and they're not going to give you any guidance. They're just going to.
But they do. There are charity groups out there, Blair, that do a lot around benefits, okay? Disability rights, RightsNet. They take on cases for people who are being mistreated through the system. A classic
I know,
case
I get
is
that. But
they do
everybody
it for
knows about
free.
these people. Not everybody knows about these people. This is what I'm saying.
Right. So
it's more difficult to get everybody to get that information. Now, if everybody was able to get that information, we wouldn't have so many issues. But it's getting access to those services.
Right. So I had a website from 2021 to last year. I've now closed it down because it wasn't working. I'm starting a new one. I've been doing benefits and helping people for over 40 years. I'm setting up a new website next year. Every single government issue you have will be listed. I've already got about 10,000 documents that are going up. It tells you who to contact. It tells you how to email. It tells you to take pictures. It gives you an actual plan on what you need to do to take on each department you go to. It lists all your councillors, your councils, the head of councils, everybody. So the information is going to be on my website in one area.
Why do you think the government is broken down society in the way it has? To split people up. It is
Divide and
control,
rule,
right?
divide and rule, bread and circuses. It's what the Romans knew as an empire. They kept all the other people fighting amongst themselves so they could control everything. But eventually, the Roman
people
Empire
don't fight amongst themselves, though.
shit dive that overextended its power. It became fucking bankrupt, and eventually they descended into degeneracy. So you look at all this thing, and look at me, the lady that sells my rolling bucket at my local supermarket is a bloke in a frock. And I went about 3 or 4 days ago, get me 50 gram of amber leaf, and I said, have you heard of this trans person on the internet called Rose of Dawn? She did one with Blair White, right?
Yeah.
And she said this thing, she did a trigonometry podcast, trans people do not speak for me. Now, gender dysphoria affects a very, 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 very small part of the population. Why is it being normalized and celebrated? Why have we got all these alphabet flags flying in fucking Oxford Street? It's the new current thing. They keep people distracted all the time to divide and rule. They're losing their grip and they know it. They're overextending themselves and they fucking know it. Keir Starmer has already said his allegiance doesn't lie with the British electorate. It fucking lies with the World Economic Forum. They're evil fucking globalists. They want control and power over everything. Where's my tinfoil hat? Can you see it spinning yet?
The thing that a lot of these idiots don't understand, right, is that once they start getting involved in this world economic, sorry, I've took my teeth out. Let me just put them back in. Now I can talk properly.
See, I told you, do the same as me. Glue the bastards in before you come on live.
Once the globalists, the true globalists, get hold of each of the countries, the people that are helping them get hold of it now will get fucked off as well. They don't realise. They think they're laughing. They're sitting there going, "Oh, we're going to be sorted." You know what I mean? When the world's run, single government, and we're going to be sorted and all the rest of it, right? They're not going to want them fucking idiots doing anything for them. They're gonna screw them the same as they're screwing the rest of us.
Same in any totalitarian regime. If you look at Stalinist Russia, all the fucking credulous stooges were gotten rid of. If you look at Iran in 1956, in 1979, all these lefties wanted to get rid of the Shah of Iran. They were first on the chopping block when fucking Ayatollah Khomeini took power. The credulous stooges, they'll be first in line. They'll be gotten rid of once they achieve total power.
Can I answer that question that's up there? Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, I'll put it up there. So
Right.
go.
Okay, so if someone has a disability from birth and that person can't work, the only money they get is their PIP. You can also claim from the DWP severe disability allowance, okay? If you've not paid into the stamps that they talk about, your national insurance, they will try and deny benefits. But severe disability benefit, you will be able to access. So go on to gov.uk, type in severe disability benefit, and you'll see the system and how it works. So that's something you can get if you can't get the ESA support group one when you're on PIP. So it is available. Just to say.
Thank you, Tina, for responding to that.
Tina, I hope I said that right. Someone in the chat asked about your website, and I just put that you were building the new one at the moment.
Yes, and if they do need my email, somebody put my email up as well, which is good. You can email me at IAN, which is India Alpha November, TC, WEB at outlook.com. IAN TC Web at outlook.com. So if you want to send me an email, I can give you whatever you need at the moment. But my website's not ready yet. So basically, when it goes up next year, hopefully, I've got a lot of documents I've been putting together on all different types of things, grants available for disability adjustments, everything's going up. And every time I get something new from the government, because I've got direct links to gov.uk, as soon as it comes in, I'll put it up and tell you how to do the procedure. All right.
Sven, yeah, he did actually say that, and he mentioned it in PM's question times. But he forgot to mention that all that extra anxiety and paranoia is they've actually created it themselves. He forgot to mention that.
Yeah, but there are benefits out there because I've been offered jobs for the new year. I'm still looking at one or two of them. So I am looking at working again part-time, only about 27 hours a week. So just to come off of the ESA support, because that's the one they're going to cut for those who've got mental health. I haven't got mental health, but I want to do something as well as my website. I want to make sure I can contribute. That's my choice. But if you can't,
I haven't got any. Yes, you have, you lying bastard. No, I haven't.
It's a choice you make yourself. Disabled people can work. I was retired in 2019 because they shut down the service I was doing, managing a young offender centre, which was whacking. So, but there you go. That's what the government do. As soon as you get good at it, they shut it down. So basically, that was great. But yeah, it was. It's true. So basically, I want to start something again along the lines of either doing counselling online and working with young offenders again. That's what I want to look at. I'm certainly never going to work for a council again. Fucking wankers. I hate those people. So I'm never doing that again.
The job I'd love them to give me, Teen.
What's that?
Is they send me all their propaganda leaflets to put in envelopes and post. Can you imagine me photocopying my own and replacing them?
No. No, but it is true. There are things out there, and you're right, Blair. There is not enough stuff in one place. They give you gov.uk, okay, but in gov.uk, if you don't know what you're looking for, it's very confusing. That's why I take all those documents and put it onto my site, so you know exactly what each one is.
The biggest problem I find with them, Teen, and Heather would probably back me up on this because she's dealt with them a lot more than I have, is none of their departments talk to each other and pass information on.
They don't. No.
Every department works against every other department. One will say yes, the other says no. Then you got to go backwards and forth. Then another one will get involved.
And you've also got the civil service. Now they are just admin to back up Parliament. There's over 1,000 of them, and they don't draft things really quickly. So if they make a suggestion of a law 1 year, they don't get the paperwork ready till the following year. So you don't actually get it an act of Parliament till 12 months later, which is ridiculous. It should be brought out straight away.
The reason the government and companies work like that so decompartmentalised is so nobody gets smart enough to see how the company actually works and functions. And if people do realise how the company works and functions, you can see through the bullshit, and it causes problems for them. So they keep it that way. You find it too much information, and that's when you get whistleblowers.
11 seconds, I would say it's the second one of them. If you listen to the talk that's going round, that's what they're gearing up for next.
Yeah. It's sad that rights groups are doing a great job, okay? They really do a fantastic job supporting people. But like myself, when my website went up last year, even in the first 6 months, I got warnings. And I was like, yeah, fuck off. I'm an independent advice network, so kiss my ass. So yeah, they were basically sending me messages. And it was government that was doing it. You can't put that up. Yes, I fucking can. It's public interest. If it's on your site, I can use it. That is a free government site to show openness amongst government. So if you don't like it, do something about it. I don't care.
But they're so open that they hide everything about a million links deep.
Yeah,
and then don't tell people. And unfortunately, they can get away with that because it's still publicly accessible. But they can literally put it down. You know, you have to go down about 50 million links in order to find it, but it's still classed as accessible.
That's what takes the time, is getting the research on it. Look at the CAB issue that we had, Dan, when I first started my site. Nobody knew for 5 years that the CAB had sold themselves to the devil and no work for the DWP. And it took me 12 months.
Certain subjects and put you into certain situations, all on government orders because they're funding them.
It took me about 12 months to get that contract between the DWP and the actual CAB, who were paid 83 million to become their employees. That's a charity that sold their souls to the fucking devil. Yeah, well done, guys.
Well, this is why Sunak's going down the road he is now. I mean, he started it a little while back, literally pushing laws, making laws to get his own way. And anything that doesn't fit the narrative from now on, same as with the immigrants and the Rwanda shit, which is never going to work, he will just make a law to do whatever he wants. But how long is he going to last? At the moment, they're all looking at pulling him down. So
I don't know. So I'll ask another question for you, Roger and Dan, whoever answers. How do I set up a YouTube channel?
You've got one.
Easy. You've got one. You're on it.
You've got a username. All you do is create content and just upload it.
Is that simple?
Yeah, dead easy. Dead easy.
If I can do it.
You need some 100 subscribers before you can go live, though, is it? No,
you can go live from your computer as long as it's a desktop. You can go live as soon as you've got a channel.
Aye,
Tina.
Yeah.
If you load up YouTube in one of your tabs, and at the very top right hand corner, you should have your little icon that you chose, your picture. Next to that, you've got a little bell, which is your notifications, and next to that, you've got a calendar.
Yeah.
You click on that plus, and that will take you through to your back office and start you on your process to uploading a video. It is pretty simple. You've only got to do it once. You know what you're doing. But if you get stuck, you know I'm at the end of the phone.
The tip I'll give you, I mean, I don't know whether Dan did this. I found it easier to set up a live, do it privately, not publicly. You can click on private, schedule or whatever. And then I just go back and watch it. I'm still learning a lot of the processes, especially on StreamYard. Yeah. But it is quite straightforward, just starting up a basic channel.
I just want to do the YouTube bit for the first few months, then talk to you about StreamYard so I can pull people in to do chat like you do about the topics that I'll be discussing, if that makes sense.
Taylor, you can contact me anytime if you need any help. It's fine.
Oh, thanks, Lovey. I appreciate that. I need you. I've never done this before, so I don't care what I look like. So anybody who's in the chat, if you see this ugly mug doing a video, I don't care what you think, okay? Write it in the chat if you want to. I don't give a shit, so there. So.
Well, I'll tell you the easiest way I learned, and it was well done, was me and Dan done a VC in Discord where I can share my screen with him, and he just showed me where to click when I want to do something.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. This is really new for me. Obviously, I got the office being set up. I'm waiting for some furniture to turn up. for the office, and I've got my new computer to put up. So I'll have a tower and got a screen, 27-inch screen.
If you set your website up, setting up a YouTube channel, once you get in there and see what's there, it's a piece of piss.
What you reckon? I bet I'll fuck it up.
Yeah.
No, honestly, you've only got to do it once, and once you've done it once, you know what you're doing. It's very, very easy to get a video up onto YouTube.
Yeah,
I mean,
because it's important you get the right stuff, this stuff right. Because if I don't, I'm going to look like a right twat.
Look, Benson and Upton can do it.
I'm doing.
But all I use, Tina, everything I use is free. Everything from me paint pot thing, me editing suite, me StreamYard, everything I use is absolutely free.
Right, okay. I'll try that then. Thanks for your help, guys. That's really it's been bugging me because I want to put the first one up in I think right about January, February.
Good night, Sean. Take care.
So if you look at it for me, Roger and Mrs. W and Dan, I'll let you see it first. So if you could tell me things that I might need to change or whatever.
Yeah, all you do is send us a link, and that the only people that can watch anything you put out, if you do it privately, then they're the only ones that get to see it.
Wonderful, brilliant stuff. Excellent.
You do, as a creator, though, you do have to be very careful what you say nowadays.
I'll try to behave.
Tina,
I can't promise. Yes.
there's a website called vidIQ. They do. You can go on there and join up, and whereas on Facebook and stuff you have hashtags and things.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you go on their website and sign up, you can type in different words, keywords, and it'll tell you how popular they are, how many people are searching for them and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Brilliant idea. Thanks, Mike.
The biggest part of your videos I've found, and my viewings do go up and down, way up and down all the time. 90% of it is your thumbnail and your title.
Yeah, well, I can assure everybody there'll be no religious talk, no political stuff on there. It's just going to be about what you can do to help yourselves in any particular problem that you face. That's all it's about.
Sounds good.
Yeah, YouTube look for it.
I mean, I'm not that brilliant with tech, as you know, but anyway, I can help. I will.
Well, I might need, when I go to the chat stuff, I might need some moderators to help me out.
Yeah,
that's attacking specific groups.
To check out the nasty people that come in.
Check out or throw out.
Throw out. Anybody starts on me, they're fucking out the door, mate. You either sit and listen, pin your fucking ears back, or piss off.
Jawohl, mein Herr, we will work for you.
Who was she pointing? You was pointing at somebody then, obviously pointing, wasn't you? Pointing at the wall.
What, me?
Yeah.
No, I was keeping the flat of my hand out off camera so they can't see what I'm doing, so it doesn't offend people.
See, the screen will be the truth.
This is just direct truth. It's not me giving you a load of garbage. It's government documents. It's exactly what your rights are and how to go about it. That's all it is.
Well, which I think will do. I think that's a channel that will do really well, to be honest.
Yeah, I do, especially at the moment.
Yeah, because so many people they're out there, but if you haven't been on benefits before, with people being laid off in certain jobs, it's difficult to come across that. It's hard for them to do that kind of stuff. They don't know where to go. They don't know who to go to, who to trust, who not to trust. Of course, that's the difficulty, because people just can't get the information out there. It's impossible. That's why those
even on that subject, you will find YouTube interfering a little bit, I expect. But
no, I'll give them shit. They start picking on me.
One of the things I find is that, and this is why I always put my face on camera. There's a lot of people that don't go on camera. I always put my face on camera because I think that it's important that people see who they're talking to.
Yes,
a lot of groups out there, for example, on Facebook and things like that, are just profile pictures. You don't know the person who the person is behind.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of groups on Facebook that deal with similar things to what you're talking about, Tina. But again, you have to put your faith in an unknown person. You know, it's all very well going, oh, that sounds interesting, and people saying, yeah, that worked for me, that worked for me. But I think you need to be able to build some kind of trust with people you're dealing with.
Yes.
Why I put my face on screen.
That's why I did mine the way I did, using my name.
Well, that's exactly what I think. If they can't see the person and they can't get to know you as an individual, they're not going to understand who you are and what you do and why you do it. I mean, everybody says to me, have you ever taken money for this? No, I don't take money off people. I never have. I've been doing benefits since DLA came out. I've been taking on the DWP and the government and also local councils for the last 40 years.
Good evening.
Apparently, I've asked people for money. I'm still waiting for the proof on that.
You'll go grey before that, Dan, I tell you.
Well, I keep sending bills out, but nobody pays.
Yeah.
I know
it's going to be controversial to some people. They may not like what I do, but I don't care. I'm there to help the individuals that can't find the help anywhere else. That's my objective. So,
well, it's like me. I get shit from people. Do you know what I mean? 99% of the people that I deal with on my channels are positive. If most of the people, if there's people that don't agree with me, they'll do it. They'll say it in a respectful way. But you get that 1%, as will you, as everybody does. You'll get that 1% that, for some reason, has got fuck all else to do in their life. You know, their kids and their missus are sitting in the other room all day long, all night long, while this person's in the fucking computer going, I'm going to slag people off because I'm really sad. So you would always get some people that will try and attack you. But you know, I to be honest, I found it pretty reasonable. You know, even though I've shown some of the comments that I've got on screen, it did annoy me at first, and that's something that most people, maybe not yourself, Tina, because you know you're a lot older and wiser than I am. Not a lot. Sorry, I mean you're older and wiser than I am. Fuck me, I shouldn't have said a lot. Sorry.
Come on, get a slap.
But you know, the way you deal with things is different from the way that I've grown up dealing with things. So I got the ump and I lashed out when people slagged me off. I'm used to it now. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only thing really that you need to, I think, is the hardest part of YouTube, is dealing with the people that want to be negative. I think that's just the toughest part.
It doesn't. You're entitled to your own opinion, as long as you're not rude with it and being really offensive. That's what I object to, when somebody can't speak how they feel without being rude or insulting. That's wrong. Everybody has an opinion, so you might not agree with it, but you can reach that middle ground and become that assertive person who accepts it. We talk to each other, make changes, and come to an agreement. That's what life is supposed to be about.
Me and Dan are the perfect example. There has been at times when we've disagreed on things. And we sit and we talk about, okay, yeah, absolutely agree with you on that bit of it, and we talk it out, and we don't let it affect a friendship, you know.
No, that's right.
No. Well, when you're talking about people, Tina, I hope you're not talking about people that say far older than them.
Hey.
I've never ever in my entire life, Dan, ever been embarrassed about my age. I'll be 63 next year, and I don't give a shit.
I know.
I never have.
This.
Well, most of my best mates round here are all in their 40s.
I'll be the opposite way round of your age, Tina.
Nice one, Mike. The thing I've learned throughout my years is that if you don't speak your truth and you don't tell people directly what they need to hear, you're not doing anybody any favors. That's the problem. You can't.
If you're only telling them what they want to hear, you're not doing any good at all.
Exactly. So if somebody gets offended by the way I do things, I'm not going to swear at you, but I'm going to say, you've asked me for advice. That's the advice I've given you. If you don't want to take it, that's your prerogative. But don't come at me moaning when you don't like the outcome. That's it.
Sorry, Tina, I was just laughing at a comment there.
But I will make sure once Richard and Mrs. W and Dan have looked at it, I'll put some live ones up, and there'll be an opportunity once I talk to those two for you to put some comments in the comments section. But behave yourselves, be warned. Be nice.
Sometimes you've got to be direct.
The ones that annoy me are the ones that have an opinion and think that everyone else has to comply, otherwise they're idiots.
Yes.
I can think of one person that comes on here that thinks like that.
You have to have a good argument. You have to have a good discussion, like Molly's saying. But you always get through that. If you become friends through an organisation like Dan's site, you become friends in a way. So you have that position where you can have an argument, but you're still talking to each other the next time and having a laugh about it. That's what it's about. It's not about fighting.
But that's because we don't attack each other. You know, if there's an opinion or an idea that one of us doesn't agree with, we'll target that. We won't target, you know, like Roger and Holly and I. We've had many discussions about things that we might not agree with, but we talk about the opinion or the topic itself rather than have a go at each other for having that opinion.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way it should be. You know what I mean? See it from both sides and then try and see if you can come to some sort of understanding. If you can't come to some sort of understanding, then you just agree to disagree. It's as simple as that. There isn't any argument. There isn't any fighting.
Yeah,
sometimes it might get a wee bit heated because people are passionate about what they're talking about, but that's just them showing how passionate that they are. There isn't any like big fight. There isn't any big argument. There's no point in it. It doesn't solve it.
There's a great word that I like. It's called humility.
I've always looked at both sides. I won't slate a government official off unless I've looked at both sides and looked into what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know,
we're all grown-ups at the end of the day. Well, supposed to be, but we are supposed to be grown up about it and work through it. That the reason is people like Dan helps people. You help people, Roger, by your discussions on video. Anyone that's got the motive to do that, to have a public site, is helping others. If somebody disagrees with that, don't join the site. There's no need to. Don't spoil it for other people.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I mean, no disrespect to the younger generations that are in here. The years that me and Tina went through, don't forget, the only way you had to communicate or disagree with somebody was walk up to them and fucking tell them.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it through the internet. You couldn't do it through a mobile or text because we didn't have any of that.
No, we didn't. No.
And you knew back then if you said something that upset the other person, he's going to get a fucking bonk on the fucking nose.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how many arguments were sorted out.
It was thought that way.
Here's a freaky fact for you. The only places that you could actually enter into public discourse face to face without throwing out mid-witted ad hominem attacks or trying to draw lines of allegiance or getting your dopamine hit through likes and clicks. The only places that could occur was your local church and your local pub. How many churches and pubs are shutting down?
Oh, quite a few.
Well,
according to the Roman
the social hub of the nation, basically, because that's where money is discussed.
There's still many places of religion to go to. We just have to change religion to get in.
According to government, there are multiple churches from the Roman Catholic faith, Christian faith, even Islam temples are shutting down because nobody's going. People are losing faith in it. They are losing the beliefs that are being put their way. If you're religious, I hope it doesn't offend you. I'm a Buddhist. I have my following. It's not a religion. It's a spiritual guidance. That's a difference. But there are churches shutting down and being turned into flats or luxury homes or whatever. You know, it's just crazy. They can't get, I mean, I had a wonderful experience at my house. I have a little sign which is written in Sanskrit. And because I'm a Buddhist, it means Om Mani Padme Hum. It's a mantra. I had a lovely couple stood outside my house and knocked on my door. Opened the door. We'd like to talk to you about Jesus. So they went on for about 10 minutes. I basically said, that's lovely. I'm a Buddhist. I don't follow your faith.
What's the other said was, where does he drink?
So the next thing I know, the old man's looked behind me to the sign and he took a step back outside the gate and he said, get away from her. And I'm like, what's going on? Did I do something? Have I farted or something? Is it really bad? So I'm laughing at them. And then they started swearing. You're an effing Muslim. You're this. You're a whore. And it's like, excuse me? And these are a couple in their 80s. I had to go to the vicar of the church to report it. They got sacked from the church. They were volunteers, apparently. But the language coming out of their mouth.
This is what happens when you have things written in Sanskrit rather than pen or pencil.
It was a pope who pretty much started your system back in 1666 with the birth certificate. Can't
What he's
remember
got
his
to do
name.
is get
I'm trying to remember his name.
bloody camera's frozen again.
Basically, I had to go to the vicar and explain what had happened. He apologised profusely, and this elderly couple was removed from their church. So, and I said, I can't believe it. It's Sanskrit. It's not. I'm not a Muslim. I'm a Buddhist. There is a very distinct difference.
And we're back. Why is that one still on?
It's crazy what people will do. That's why I've now got a sign on my door: no cold callers, no leaflets, no paper put through my door by the postman. I got it on the window. It said, and I saw one woman. She had a Bible in her hand. She read the label and went out the gate. And I was like, "That's cool. Bye. I'm not answering the door." So,
my little lad's a Cub Scout, and I went to his enrollment ceremony, and he had to do the dib, whatever you do with your fingers, what have you. And he said he had to pledge allegiance to King Charles and the Church of England. I've absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. If he wants to grow up believing in to be a devout Christian, I have no problem with it. And I'm a doomer atheist. But at the end of the day, I've had this conversation with, once you don't believe in religion and an all-supervising dictator in the sky, if you stop believing that, you'll believe in anything. And I think this culture, this fucking woke, it is like a new religion. Dan, do I have to fucking super chat you another fucking tenner to get another book? Are you going well with Peter Hitchens? There's a guy.
Those ABCs.
Oh, right. There's a guy, Andrew Doyle. Yeah. Andrew Doyle, the gay man on GB News that does Free Speech Nation on a Sunday night. He's actually come out with a new book, and he says basically, woke is like a new religion, and basically it's like Christianity. You're born in sin, but there's no redemption, and it's gone across the West, and basically they were willing to bend over and I've had beer, forgive me. They're willing to bend over and destroy themselves for other causes. Political correctness is and woke, the culture of woke is like a new religion, and it's destroying the West. So if my son wants to believe in God, go to church, I have no problem with it. I don't believe. I'm sorry.
Being on behalf of everybody else has got a time-consuming thing ever.
What's that?
A lot of the woke community.
Huh?
Hang on.
Sorry, Blair. 1 second. Being offended on behalf of everybody else has got to be the most fucking tiring thing ever.
Yeah, I agree that the woke way that many countries are going, like the United States as well as our own, but a person has the right to be what they want to be. My objection is when they try and tell me that I have to tell them what they want to hear. Unless they're wearing a dictionary around their neck, so I know if it's him, shim, they, whatever, frog face, tree hugger, I don't care. Unless they walk around with it tied around their neck, how the hell am I supposed to know? So my objective when I go out, hi human, and people are thinking, why are you calling me human? Well, I don't want those to call you. So let's just try human. So, but I object to them trying to force me to use their narrative. I still have free speech in this country. They can't object to mine, and I can't object to them. Now, if you talk about religions, let's talk about the Jedi religion, okay, from Star Wars. That's actually become a religion. If you're a Jedi. Okay?
No, sorry, Tina. When the census came around, you could apply and actually say you were a Jedi, but not enough of people actually said that they had self-identified.
It doesn't matter. It is a registered religion.
It is a registered religion.
It is a registered
what about
religion.
my religion, Kekistani?
And believe it or not, the same with Klingon.
You can create your own religion if you've got enough people to follow it. Then you can create it.
You're right, Blair. Absolutely. You just need a congregation somewhere to worship. And there was something else that you need as well.
And not so many worshippers.
There's even one that started up with the name Spaghetti Monster. And it is
that was the atheist. That was the new atheist. That was most of the new atheists were really radical.
Yeah, they've got calendars on their head.
Many of the new atheists were radically left-wingers, which is why I fell out with them, because I hated them. They actually identified with the Church of Woke. Many of the spaghetti monsters identified with the Church of Woke, which is why I fell out with them. Believe me, I've been down here a long time. I've read all the fucking literature. Christopher Hitchens, Daniel Dennett, Sam Harris, the lot. I'm an atheist, but if you want to believe in God, you want to believe in Christ and his teachings, then go for it. Because if you reject Christianity, which is the foundational basis of our culture for the last 2,000 fucking years, you'll let a stronger culture take over. And we all know which culture that Loaf is talking about.
Yeah, that's never going to
We
get that
will
far.
look at Christianity came through the Anunnaki. You know what I mean?
The
There's
only time I
tablets.
go near a church
All
is
religions came through one religion at the beginning, and it was all broken down. It's as simple as that. But people
the
follow who they
Anunnaki-
want to follow.
Aren't they the aliens?
Blair, didn't the Anunnaki come from Planet 9?
No. Do you believe everything you hear?
No, that's what I'm asking. I didn't say they did. That's what I'm asking the question.
But the tablets are there. You know what I mean? The tablets have been read.
Dan, just giving you the heads up, mate. Half an hour.
Yeah, no
And,
worries. Thank you.
The stories, obviously, Noah's Ark and the splitting of the seas, everything was in those tablets, and it was depicted into Christianity and other religions. The earliest religion probably is Hinduism, or Buddhism.
I think it was. I think Hinduism came first, and then it was Buddhism, and then it was Islam after that. So, but it has changed over the years, because if you look at the current wars going on with Jerusalem and Gaza and whatnot, it's about property. They want to have property. That's all this fight is about. It's about one taking control of another. Under religious guise. That's what it's about. They're using religion to create a war. We're human beings. We have one planet. If we don't start to accept each other as they are, you don't have to like it, but a person can be what they want to be. Homosexuality, eunuchs, gays, lesbian have been around for centuries. If they want to do that with their lives, that's their business. We don't have the right to criticize that.
Yeah, that's a
can't.
lifestyle choice that's abhorrent, Tina.
What? Say that again.
Being gay is a lifestyle choice that's abhorrent and against nature.
But religion, religion's are about peace.
Problem I've got with this is you can find people
It's
who
the
are
governments
gay.
who create the war.
You can find people who are gay, Jewish, and atheist. Okay, so they're gay, but they're culturally Jewish, but they don't believe in God. How many Islamic people that you find are gay and atheist and don't believe in God?
Yeah,
not many.
Oh, there was a few at the protest, wasn't there?
Well, there's some that want to be.
Well, there are some, but they obviously can't commit in their own community, otherwise they'd be stoned to death. And then you've obviously got honour killings and everything else in their society. So it's probably best not that they do come out, you know, they stay safe.
If you look at the Islamic Quran as it was back then and to now, the rules in the Quran are very similar to the Bible and to the Jewish book and to the Catholic book. The same standard rules as written by Moses come down through. Thou shalt not harm an innocent. Thou shalt not covet their neighbor. All those kind of things are very similar, just written in a different way. I studied all faiths before I found my own, which was Buddhism. The reason I chose that, I could not find any history of any war or any anger by a Buddhist taken against another. That's why I chose it. I'm here to help people. I'm not here to hinder the human race. I want to make sure everybody has the knowledge that I do. I want to transfer that. That's what it's supposed to be about. We shouldn't be allowing governments and countries to use religion to fight against each other. It doesn't work. All they're going to do is make us more angry at each other, neighbor against neighbor, family against family. When are people going to wake up and see this is all being pressure put on this country and the world by other people? Parliament, governments, rich people. They want us to go against each other. They want us to fight. This is what they get. The more people have these marches and cause chaos, the more the government put money into the Met Office. And what do? Commit crimes.
Oh, Tina.
Police, not the Met Office.
Allah and God are the same.
I don't think the
again.
weather's going to
They
make a
that-
huge difference here.
The problem Islam has is we speak too much about Muhammad and his wrongdoings. They don't like that.
Yeah.
If you look at the,
Sorry, I just want to interrupt quickly and just say to whoever it was that tried to come in the back room there, fuck you. I'm not that stupid. So
one of them.
oh, well done. Well done. It's about saving ourselves, not about other people. The human race only has one option, one planet. If we don't get this right, we're fucked. So that's it. How
But
many
you need people to
people?
come together.
Yes, you do. Far too many, as we've said before, Dan, are sheep. They don't want to go against the government. They don't want to do writing letters, getting their MPs involved. Well, they have a nice parade. They go on a protest. What does it do? Nothing, because it's all finished. But if you literally bug the people in Parliament, your MPs, by sending them letters, taking on councils, taking on the DWP, they're going to have to sit up and start taking notice.
I said this, and if anybody's in doubt that they don't take notice, Paz Sirs 49 actually got his MP to mention his name in the House of Commons. Paz's
It's
name
numbers.
up in the House.
Yes, and what it does, it's numbers. If you've got the amount of numbers you need, Roger, it's numbers.
I'm not from sending emails to my MP. I was from the first year of the pandemic.
The thing is, though, Tina, from what I've seen, right? Yes, the numbers will perhaps get an MP to mention it in Parliament. However, to me, it's like they're doing that as a platitude to, because they know it's being filmed, right? They know that somebody's going to find out whether it was said or not, right? So as long as they bring it up, as far as they're concerned, it's fine. They can placate any backlash from their constituents, right? They just want to make the constituents think that they're doing something. We've seen it even through the jibby jabby. The lots of people in lots of areas were saying no bollocks. This lockdown and everything else is wrong, but yet the MPs were going into Parliament going, well, our constituents don't agree, but behind the doors they're going, yeah, let's fucking knock them down anyway.
But there is a parliamentary law which allows you to set up a campaign. So if you have one particular topic, you need 100,000 people to write in to put a complaint. So you can set it up, and all they do is they follow
petitions
and basically send it in, and it has to be brought up as a parliamentary clause on a particular issue. So it happened many years ago with DLA, a long time ago now, and somebody complained about the levels of DLA and how it was that people were being treated at the interviews, and they had over 150,000 votes, and it was brought up in Parliament, which led to changes to the way the assessors did the DLA meetings, because they were only given one choice, and that was you had to go to a unit. And the one we had in my area was up 20 steps. So you had to park a mile down the road at a car park, walk up the hill, go up the 20 steps. All that time you were being filmed. So they would literally refuse you because you've just taken the time to walk up all those stairs, despite the fact you might have 2 crutches, you might have a spinal injury. That's what they did. So it made changes to the way PIP is now assessed, because you can have a home visit, you can have a Zoom call, you can have a telephone call, or go into the job centre. That's what you can do.
Mine's just a phone call.
Yeah. So I always do Zoom calls because I can record it. So yeah, or telephone calls I don't take anymore. Any government issue you've got, never do a telephone call, because they can always make it disappear. They can't make emails disappear. That's how I work. Emails.
Unless you can record it yourself.
Yes, record it.
No, all their calls should be recorded for training and monitoring purposes anyway.
Well, that's what I.
They can still they do it at the time, but they can if it doesn't help them or benefit them, then it will get fucking lost.
Yes, it does. So that's why I tell everybody, if you're being told you've got to do a telephone call, Dan and I did one. I recorded it. And I told the woman that I was recording because she told me she was recording. So I'm going to use my right to record for my client. And she agreed.
But if you go to court with that and they don't have the recording, does that not put them on the back foot anyway? And it makes them look as if they're trying to cover it up, and the judge would just go in your favour. Do you know what I mean? So whether you record the call or no, like it would go into court. If they don't turn up and they don't have that should be recorded. There's no way that should have been deleted, and they shouldn't have that. So when they go to court, they're going to lose either way.
No, not necessarily. The police do this all the time with footage. It got corrupted. Remember, it's digital. Digital isn't perfect. Digital files can be corrupted, maybe not that regularly for somebody working at home, but working in a place where it's needed, then it can be corrupted quite easily. Oh, sorry, it was a fucking, it was a...
The police are renowned for it, aren't they?
The PIP service has got a little bit better because you can now email them with evidence. They got an email site now where you can upload more evidence on your house, whereas the DWP are still refusing to do emails. You try and ring the DWP about your benefit, they'll take you 50 attempts to get through, and most of the time they hang up on you. So we've been pushing to get the DWP to do email. Emails can't be destroyed. They don't care what they say. They go onto a server. I worked for the government. I know how it works. They are not allowed to destroy evidence. Like when a PC sat at his desk typing into his keyboard onto the computer, like you've done, Dan, with some that were caught downloading porn and stuff. That's recorded. As soon as you log in, that's recorded. It goes onto a server they don't have access to. So it can be got back. With the assessors, they're separate from DWP. They're nurses, doctors, pediatricians, all those kind of things. They've got a medical background. It's their job to gather the information and then send it to the DWP. The biggest problem we've got is it's department managers who are making the decisions. They don't even look at the assessor's notes. They base it on a point system. So each month they have a target. This month we're going to accept 100. Next month we're only going to accept 40. And that's exactly what they do. No, deny. No, chuck out. Yep, we're going to take out one. And it's not based on medical. It's a point system. That's what you'll find in the book.
And other government agencies, are they not kind of like banks and they need to keep a paper record of everything anyway?
Yes, they must.
Well,
the same as your local council. Your local council has to keep clear and concise records of every conversation they have with you.
Would you be surprised to hear that it's not illegal to record covertly in a job centre either?
No, it's not illegal, no.
No. You can record phone calls. You don't have to inform them.
Nope.
You can record them.
Yes, because you have people with, like Dan, people with memory issues. So that's a way to keep your record of what you're doing. And that comes under disability laws. If you have a forgetfulness, I often used to sit there and say, no, I can't remember that. So I'm going to... So, yeah, but you can't. I've had threats before. You can't record me. Yes, I can. You're a public servant. I pay your taxes and I pay your wages. So I'm going to record you. But I'm not going to talk to you. Bye then. Later. You kick me out of the interview. Ta-da.
And then you get a complaint in against them because they've no right to do that.
No, they don't. This is where my website is going to come in. It's going to teach you what your rights are. And you should never back down from it. Follow the path and you'll get what you want.
That's the problem that people need to look at, you know what I mean? And that's where the problems lie. People stress too much about answering certain questions. They don't know all the answers. And unless they've got people like us to speak to direct them or try and direct them to the right place, they've not got a hope in hell.
It's difficult for people, yeah.
They've broke down society that much. The community centres for people to go to and meet people, sit, talk, you know what I mean? All that is gone pretty much with COVID. Everybody's locked in their house. You know what I mean? This is, well, there's only 6 of us here. You need another 6,000. You know what I mean?
Well, you've got the same with local councils. Does anybody remember like food banks, not food banks, but homeless people were able to get fresh food that was cooked on the high street? I don't know whether you probably saw it in your own areas. We had a guy that used to take up soup cans, the big kettles. He used to do jacket potatoes for people. There was a cafe called the Spotted Dog in our city, and that was for mental health patients to go to. to have a chat, have a coffee, calm down, get some help from the volunteers. That the council closed it all down 5 years ago. They've stopped anyone from giving food to the homeless. No one can do it. You'll get a fine if you do. That's how bad it is.
But they've opened centres for junkies to go and congregate and take heroin and other things like that.
That's only in Scotland. That doesn't happen down here.
Yeah, that's only in train spotting, mate.
No, that's happening. It's happening here.
Right? Can I just ask a question in the chat? Sorry, if you've got a Galaxy, Samsung Galaxy, can you press 1? If you've got an iPhone, can you press 2?
1.
Sorry to interrupt very quickly.
2.
So Galaxy 1, iPhone 2.
1.
2.
I can press mine, but it ain't going to do any good because it ain't connected to the internet.
What was the question?
iPhone,
If you've got
Samsung.
Samsung or Apple?
Galaxy, if you've got Samsung Galaxy 1, if you've got an iPhone, press 2.
Roger's got a field telephone.
I've still got 2 cans and 20 yards of string, mate.
He communicates by Morse code.
If I want to go any further than that, it's smoke signals.
It might be Samsung, but I think it's only a Planet. I don't think we've got Galaxy yet.
mine's a Galaxy 5.
So most people are putting a 1 in the chat at the moment. The reason I ask is because I wanted to see whether or not
he wants to hack your phone.
I wanted to see whether or not the majority of people have got. And the reason I asked that is because I don't have this for iPhone. I've only got this for Samsung Galaxy. If anybody, or if any of you, and I would suggest you do this, and this is free if you've got Samsung Galaxy, call recorder. I don't know if any of you have got call recorders or not for your phone, but I think it's important to have one for any phone calls that you make, that obviously not just to not your friends, but any phone call that you make other than that. But you can only, there's two apps you have to download, and one of them is actually on the Galaxy Store. Okay, rather than the Play Store. So you get one from the Play Store and you get the other from the Samsung Galaxy Store.
Yeah.
And this will allow you to record all your phone calls, unless you obviously say you don't want them to record. I used one called ACR, but it stopped working. Unfortunately, this is why one of these has to go through the Galaxy Store, not the Play Store, because the Play Store won't allow many call recording apps on there anymore. So I'm just going to drop into the chat, just for anybody that's got a Galaxy. If you want to record your phone calls, these are the apps that I use. So that's the one that's on Google Play, and that is the one that is on the Galaxy Store. You just download them both, and they will literally work out of the box, so to speak. But do yourself a favor and have that extra layer of security when you're dealing with people.
Are they free?
Yeah.
Shit. I ain't got a Galaxy phone. I've got an iPhone.
When I say they're free, somebody else has put in the chat that nothing's ever free. So obviously there is probably some kind of trade-off you're making with Samsung. Information of some description, but they work. All of the calls that I've made recently that I needed to record have recorded perfectly. So try it, give it a go.
What I do, Dan, on mine, you've got the same phone as me. There's a voice recorder. Okay. So what you do is you put your phone on speakerphone, press voice recorder before you start, and that records all conversations perfectly, 2 ways.
Yeah, I've got one of them on mine.
There's a red button called voice recorder on your phone.
Yeah, it's in the pull-down menu. Or you can put it in the pull-down menu.
Yeah. Oh, voice recorder. Yeah.
So if you take a call, you put it on speakerphone, press voice recorder before you start and answer it, put on speakerphone, and it will record both sides of the conversation.
But you might not be in a position where you can have it on speakerphone. That's only
I always put mine on speakerphone, and I always tell them a fib that I'm deaf. I've got bad hearing. So
I just mean if you're out and
idea.
about and somebody calls you and you need to record it, for example, and you're sitting on a bus or sitting in a cafe or something, and it's not always easy to do that. If
the
you're
other
at home,
way I do, yeah, I agree. But the other way I do that is I have a dictaphone which records. Okay, it's a pocket-sized one, costs about 30 quid, and that's got batteries which last up to like 7 months or whatever. And I've got recordings on that. So if I'm somewhere private and I've got my earphones in, basically that doesn't matter. But if I'm somewhere quiet and nobody can hear, I will literally record the call.
Yeah.
On the voice recorder. That goes with me everywhere I go, the voice recorder.
Just to let everybody know, 12 minutes. I'm going to have to wrap up, I'm afraid, because I've got I've got something I've got to check at midnight, and I can't do it while I'm on here. So
you're going to turn into a pumpkin,
something like that, yeah.
Oh, Dan, that
pumpkin is orange. Yeah, sorry, go on.
The comment I put in Discord today with the phone number. I don't quite know what she wants to talk about, but apparently she does know you. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll check that. I'll try and give her a ring tomorrow.
Yeah, all I did was pasted the 2 messages I got in there, so you can see the full context of it.
Yeah. It is a good example of getting your evidence collected, no matter who you talk to. So recording a phone call is vital, but I've cut down phone calls. I email. So if somebody wants to communicate with me, I will always tell them I prefer email. And because they can't be deleted, all right, with any professional.
Absolutely.
And when I worked at the council, I had an email come in from a customer that was quite rude, and they denied it because they deleted it their end. I went down to the tech guys to the basement. When was it? On this day, on that date, a fortnight ago. They found it and sent it straight to me. So I was there to prove my case. So there you go. Emails can't be deleted.
I just think it's really important to be able to keep recordings of dealings that you have.
You need to. It's very important.
Off, you silly little cunt.
Who? What?
Someone in the back room.
Crinkle. Piss off. You think you think I can't see it?
Go poke yourself in your good eye, you wrong'un.
Go check yourself into a loony bin, you fucking nutcase.
Good night, Hunter. Take care, bud.
Fuck's sake.
It's having the evidence is what helps you to win your case. So having that evidence, solicitors will use portable recordings, every aspect they do. So when that comes up in court between their client and themselves, they've got it all prepared. That's exactly what you need to win any case against any government official. I didn't say that. Play the recording. Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, there's no somebody's emailed me. I was just checking the notifications on my phone and said, is it okay to record somebody? I've not read the email properly, but you're not a business, so you don't have to tell people that you're recording. That's something you need to remember. If you're a business and you're a data controller, you know, if you're taking that for any reason other than for your own reminder or whatever it might be, if you're taking a recording for anything other than that, then you should really tell people that you're recording, but you don't have to tell them to record if it's for your own purposes. Obviously a business would be using your data for many different things, not just for their purposes of checking checking back on the call, for example. They'll be using it for many different things. So as an individual, you don't have to let anybody know that you're recording. There are some situations where you cannot record, for example, in a court. For example, although you should be able to, but you're not in a court. If you go into a police station, and I'm talking audio recording here, not video recording. In a police station, in the front office, you're allowed to because it's a public area, but they'll rarely let you record what's being between you and them if you're in a room with them.
Am I right in thinking if you go in for a voluntary one, you can actually legally request that you record it?
You can request to record any visit that you make to the police station. If you're there under arrest, you can't. But if you're if you go in there of your own volition, you can request to record.
Yeah,
that.
It was Marty, wasn't it? He done it in one when he went in for one because he just wanted to see how it worked and make sure he was allowed to.
I think
it was Marty.
Yeah.
There's a girl from Manchester that done it as well. Who gets picked on by the police a lot.
It's not Janaya, is it?
That's it.
Yeah, Janaya. Yeah, I know her.
If you look at recordings, though, they are submissible in court as evidence. So a recording can be used. You can't record in court, but it's the same when you work with any government office. You can record, and that can be used in any kind of case going forward because it's a clear record of what's taken place. Because as you know, Dan, do police never lie?
Yeah.
Well, obviously they do all the time.
I wonder where I first came across Janaya. I think she's still on my subs list. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I mean, it's come to the world today. When I get my mobility scooter next year, I'm having cameras put in. So I'm having a back camera and a front camera to protect myself. And that's going to be recording. And if people don't like it, I don't care. It's for my safety, no one else's.
Right. Trinkle. I can listen. Anybody's going to be able to see that's you. So go fuck yourself in your fucking eye socket, you silly little.
I'm gonna skull fuck you, boy.
Yeah, Janaya is on my subs list and I've got no notifications from her. She last uploaded 3 months ago. She's a mixed race, black, half white, English activist. I think she's based out of East Manchester. She first appeared on my radar. I think it was Sargon's Western Sharia Police about 5 or 6 years ago. She went into Greater Manchester Police Headquarters because she was intimidated by the Religion of Peace people, and she had to record a conversation with Greater Manchester Police. I think it was the desk sergeant, and she said she's received death threats, and the police sergeant said if you hadn't posted things on social media, then you wouldn't be receiving these death threats. So basically, she didn't criticise the Religion of Peace. She wouldn't be having this conversation with the desk sergeant. I think she's based out of Stalybridge, East Manchester. We weren't having this. I think it was Western Sharia Police. I think it was Sargon's upload.
Right, guys, I've got 5 minutes
to keep your mouth shut.
Guys, I've got 5 minutes before I've got to disappear, but I want to show you this before I do.
You got 4.
Or 4 minutes. This is Crinkle using my face, okay, on his AI thing. Okay, so be warned. Okay, I will only ever come onto a panel if I speak in the comments first. So do never ever let me up unless I speak in the comments first. Okay, and then you can check me by clicking on the 3 dots and making sure that it is my account. This is what the little prick has just tried doing in the back office here. If you can see it, hopefully it will come up.
Yeah.
You can tell that's Crinkle. I don't know why, but you can still tell that's Crinkle. That's him trying to use.
Oh my God!
Get onto people's live streams. So let me say it again right now. If I appear in anybody's live stream and I am not in the comments, do.
To be fair, that looked more like Tony Robinson after chemo.
It looks a lot thinner in that video as well. So I don't, if I looked that thinner, obviously that still looks like Crinkle. You can still tell it's Crinkle. Remember the 2 that he tried doing the other week, and I showed the picture. Yeah, you could tell that it was still him. I don't know why. It was the eyes, or it was to do with the eyes and shit.
Gotta wonder why he's still so obsessed with you.
I know. It's unfortunate and quite disturbing, to be quite honest with you. I mean,
how do you think he amounts all that washing in his bedroom all stood up?
With a pair of socks.
He screenshots your Zoom every night. Your lives.
Right, I'm gonna go, Dan. I know you're gonna go off. So good night to everybody. Thanks for hearing and me yakking. Catch everybody later. Take care.
Good bit.
Yeah, you got about a minute and a half done.
Yeah, you guys can stay on and chat if you want when I end the stream.
Yeah, Mina will turn off and sit here and rip the stream apart.
if any of you are ever on another live stream and someone says, "Oh, Pap's in the background here," please do me a favour and let them know. Let them commented in the chat, then it's not me.
Yeah.
No, and I'd appreciate that. And I'd suggest the rest of you do the same thing as well and just say to people, ask first. Ask if it's me first in the chat before letting me up. So, but thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Much appreciated. I'm sure it's sorry. I'm sorry it's a short one again. But I have to try and sort out my living arrangements, should we say. And that means I have to piss off at midnight to go and check stuff. And I don't want to be doing that whilst you're all sitting here waiting, because if something comes up, then I'm going to get excited and I need to do stuff. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining us, getting involved, whether you phoned in, whether you got involved in the chat or whatnot. Much respect to you all, guys on the panel. Thank you. And I will keep you all. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch you all through the week at some point. If not, I will see you next weekend. So, with that said, good night.
Take care, everybody. Bye.